right. Noties are out. Triple spam noties. What happened? Okay. Noties are out. YouTube is up. Let's see. YouTube. Yep, YouTube is up. Looks good. Let's push out the go live. We got a lot to get through today, so let's make this part quick. Just gonna check the audio real quick. Make sure everything sounds good. Check, check, check. Okay, audio's good. Go lives are out. Let me see, is this coming through? Hello, hello, hello. Okay, there we go. All right, cool. Pre-check is done. Mic is good. We're gonna get into things pretty quickly. I know we got a lot of stuff we got to get through. Tons of news just came out today for Edge of Fate. We got a couple different creators we're gonna take a look at. They got some videos out. No blog posts to go through just yet. Those are gonna be out later in the month. I think they said June. I want to say June 20 something is what I saw. But today we got a bunch of previews of different things. We got previews of the gear tier system, the new stats. We got a preview of exotics, weapons, armor, set bonuses, a lot of little details about a lot of upcoming changes that are going to be dropping at Edge of Fate. So we're going to take a look at all of those things today. We'll try to condense it a little bit because I know there's a lot. And then, you know, we'll have some clips and whatnot. Maybe I'll do like a summary video for the channel, just kind of going over, you know, key details and things that we might have from today. But yeah, so that's how we're going to kind of do this thing. We're going to get into it pretty quickly. Usually I'd kind of chit chat and wait for things to get going. But today we're just going to get it started because we have a couple of videos I want to get through. We got 3 different creators we're going to be checking out. Benny, Fallout Plays, and Datto. They've all got different videos covering different topics. Like you can see here, how leveling is going to work, the portal, Edge of Fate exotic armor, weapons, stat changes. So yeah, there's a lot of different things we're going to go into. We'll watch these videos, and each video is like, you know, 8 to 10 minutes. I don't think any of them are too long. And maybe like 10 minutes. This one's pretty long here, 20 minutes. Datto got some long videos, but yeah, we'll try to get through some of the quicker ones first so we can get an idea of some of the things that are coming along in Edge of Fate. But yeah, dude, let's get this thing started. I think we should start with weapons. Yeah, like we got a video here about weapons and traits. We got a video about guide to new loot tiers. I think we should get an understanding of the weapons. And the armor, so like stats, gear tiers. I think we should get a feel for that, and then maybe get into like, you know, new exotics and whatnot. Yo, what's going on, Derek? What's good? What's good? What's good? All right, so let's see. Do we want to start with Benny? I mean, Fallout only has an exotics video, so maybe we'll check out the exotic video from Fallout. And I do want to see this one from Datto, how leveling is going to work. I think that one's going to be pretty important because power levels are going to be reset in Edge of Fate. And from the sound of it, I mean, we'll watch it, but from the sound of it, leveling might be changing up a little bit. Maybe they're streamlining it with the portal system. Don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think we'll do that. I think we'll watch how leveling with the portal is going to work. How leveling is going to work, I should say, and how the portal is going to work. Then we can check out the exotic video from Fallout, and then we'll check out a couple videos from Benny. So we'll check out like the weapon rolls and traits. We'll check out the stats video as well. So we'll check out these 4 videos. So I think we should take a look at, maybe let's not start with stats. Stats is a little heavy to get to get started with. Let's take a look and see how leveling is going to work.
Before we get to the portal, though, the following video has...
And again, shout out to all the creators who got a chance to go to Bungie and get these early previews. You guys can definitely go check out the full videos on their channels. There's going to be a ton of content coming out from them, from the folks who got an early hands-on preview. I don't know if they're going to have more than what they have today, but I'm pretty sure, you know, some of them, a lot of creators dropped a ton of videos today. Some of them, like Fallout, it seems like they're going to drop videos over the course of, you know, the weeks or whatever. So definitely be sure to go check them out. But for us, we're going to just kind of be reacting and watching, you know, their coverage of it and giving our 2 cents on it and whatever other blog post might come out from Bungie. But let's get into this video from Datto. Let me turn this off. And let me know if the audio is good and whatnot.
Has all
on the
dialogue
YouTube
and subtitles turned off to minimize story spoilers. Gameplay shown is from an early build of The Edge of Fate.
And there will be no
story
spoilers. No story spoilers.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to A Whole New World, where today I would like to talk about the portal. I would like to talk about leveling and some other changes coming to the game. The portal is Bungie's attempt at a new way to interact with Destiny. The director menu has become...
And I'm going to be pausing and whatnot too, to just take a look at some of these things. So like, for instance, we're going to get a good look here of the portal and like how the menus and stuff look. So a lot of people are kind of mixed on the portal. You know, a lot of people are thinking like it's a little convoluted and difficult to navigate. I feel like it's a bit harsh to judge at this point because we haven't actually seen it. I think that anything that's dramatically new from what you're accustomed to is always going to be a little bit overwhelming. But when we finally get our hands on it and navigate it and see how it actually works in real time, then I feel like, you know, we can give a true assessment of whether or not, you know, this is going to work or not with the portal system. But I think the idea is good. I think the direction is good, right? To kind of condense a lot of the things into one menu that you can kind of navigate to decide what kind of activities and things you want to get into, right? So for example, if you're a solo player, they have an entire solo ops playlist. So this is going to condense all the playlists and activities and things that you can jump into as a solo player, right? And it breaks down like what are your rewards going to be, about how long it'll take for you to do it. So like things like that, those are some of the benefits I think that players can look forward to from the portal system, right? And again, we're only looking at previews. We gotta still see it play out and share more of our thoughts once we actually have our hands on it.
Leaving players who aren't as locked into the game kind of confused as to what to go do. Bungie's goal with the portal menu is to...
Yeah, see here? See, this is pretty cool, right? So you see all these different solo ops down here, right? These individual activities. So these are just law sectors, right? Or I believe these were law sectors. Let's go back real quick just so I'm not. Yeah, these are law sectors, right? So these take like 10 to 15 minutes. It says you get a bonus drop and a completion reward. Doesn't exactly say what it is, but you get some kind of loot, some kind of reward. And then, yeah, it looks nice. Look good. Yeah, shiny. Yeah. All right, so let's see.
Time, leaving players who aren't as locked into the game kind of confused as to what to go do. Bungie's goal with the portal menu.
Okay, so they have some solo ops playlist activities up here, right? So quick play, normal, advanced. Can't really see what this one is.
Much locked into the game.
Expert and in master. So different difficulties up here for playlists. And then they have like individual activities down here. So if we take a look at the master activity, the Datto shows here, you can see right here, right? So it tells you, okay, this is for single players. Takes you about 10 to 15 minutes. You get a completion reward and then you get a bonus focus so that if you achieve a grade of B or higher, you'll earn this reward, which is the Aurora Dawn. That's kind of cool, right? Well, you kind of have an incentive to just achieve a higher grade in order to earn some specific reward. And I don't know if this is like a reward that's unique just to this playlist, right? I don't know if they're going to do loot like that, where it's like, hey, look, you can only get this thing if you do this activity and achieve this grade, for example, right? But maybe this is just one source of getting this weapon here, the Aurora Dawn. But I think that's a cool idea, right? Like incentivizing people to not only jump into activities and just participate to earn rewards, but also to try to master those activities, and achieve a higher level of skill, than you normally would even bother to do in a lot of these different activities, right?
Is to make things much clearer to understand and get people into gameplay significantly faster than you usually would. I'm guessing a lot of you will pop open the game, fly to the tower, check some menus before either just logging off completely or inevitably finding something to do.
So that's just one of the menus, right? I know he's about to jump into the fire team activities. I kind of want to take a look at
Logging
this
off
other menu.
completely
Let me see if
or
I can pause it
inevitably
real quick. So this looks like the main screen here for the portal. So, and again, because I think a lot of people got it confused, the portal is not replacing the director that we have. If you're a veteran player, you just want to jump into the director, you can do that. Like at the top here, you see it still says world. You can still jump into that menu and do things how you normally would. But the portal is more of like a quick get in, get out, condensed version of, the Destiny experience. And ultimately, I personally think that maybe, as time goes along and they get more feedback on the portal and they add more things to the portal and make some updates to it, I could see a world where, eventually the traditional director as we know it, goes away and we see it replaced with the portal. I could see something like that. Now, is that something that players want? I don't know, because it's kind of nice being able to navigate around the menu to the different planets and then, picking different spawn points. So, like that kind of stuff is cool. So I don't know how feasible that is to incorporate into a portal type of experience. But again, we'll see. We'll see how successful the portal is. But so yeah, let's see here. So we got the latest expansion, Edge of Fate. I don't know if this is something that's clickable, but I can imagine, hey, look, latest expansion, Edge of Fate. You click on it, takes you straight into that location. You get the same map layout. You click on, where you want to spawn at, maybe mark different activities, something like that, right? Then we have this events tab over here. It says that Solstice is incoming, which is nice, right? Being able to know that, hey, look, there's an upcoming activity. There's an upcoming seasonal event, I should say, right? So hey, look, Solstice is coming. Maybe you click on it, it gives you like a little countdown or tells you what the date is. Maybe it gives you like a preview of what the rewards are, what the event is, and little things like that. That could be nice. Thinking about like the new player experience and players who don't, they're not familiar with Destiny and how these things work. It's nice to have somewhere for them to see things in game, to where they don't need to be, deeply invested in the community, where they know creators that give them updates, or maybe they don't go on social media, they don't follow Bungie, right? So they can see things like that in the game and get these updates in real time, and stuff like this, in addition to the little pop-ups that Bungie now puts into the game, I think are pretty nice. So yeah, we have a seasonal hub here. We have tower. So maybe you could just launch the tower from right here. Seasonal hub, maybe that's like the helm. Maybe that's what this is. You can launch into the helm. We have the expansion Edge of Fate. Maybe this is based on like your last mission. So like you're able to navigate most of the game just from this one menu, right? It even tells you there's an event. I'm guessing this is the live event at the time of, when this screen is, right? So during this time, there's Arms Week going on, which we know is a new event that's going to be coming in Edge of Fate, in addition to things like heavy metal that we got a preview of. So that's kind of cool. Maybe you can launch that right here and, take a look at that event. Maybe you launch it right from here. And then down at the bottom, you have all of the activities in the game. So you have solo stuff. So that's going to be like law sectors or any other activities that I think are soloable in the game. Then you have your fire team activities, which we'll take a look at in a second. We got pinnacle stuff. So it's going to be like raids, dungeons, GMs maybe, right? Any like end game activities. And then you have your crucible, which is going to be all your PvP stuff, trials, sixes, Iron Banner, you know, those kind of things. So let's take a look and see what Dado goes into next. I think he jumps into the fire team menu.
Finding something to do. The portal
Right.
looks to
So
replace all of that with
let's see.
do.
Right. So we have mission. We have a couple of missions here, right? Empire Hunt, the Inverted Spire, that's a strike. Battleground Oracle. So you have like a variety of activities. And again, this is not necessarily adding new activities, right? This is not like, hey, look, here's the portal and here's all these new activities. This is again just recontextualizing all the activities in the game and giving you them in a more easily digestible way, right? So all of the activities that you normally run are now here in this format. And it also looks like, you know, they've added unique rewards to these different things, right? Because this looks like new loot here. All of this stuff down here. This looks like new gear, which is probably going to be some of that those gear tier sets, not gear tier sets. Those gear sets with the set bonuses, which we'll take a look at later. But that's what this stuff looks like. So, you know, you'll be able to jump into Inverted Spire or, you know, Empire Hunt and actually be able to chase down specific pieces of gear that maybe you need, right? So maybe you need a chest piece. You can do the Empire Hunt. Maybe you need a class item. You can do the Invited Spire. Maybe you need a gauntlet. You can do Battleground Oracle, right? This would be a really cool way of being able to chase down specific pieces of gear that you need when you're trying to level up, right? And then again, up here at the top, we have the different playlists. So these are individual activities down here, and then we have the playlist, right? So it looks like on normal, you get some loot. I'm pretty sure there's some rewards for advanced and expert. I'm not sure why it doesn't show here, but I highly doubt that on advanced and expert, there's just nothing there. And then on master, it seems like you get your hands on this weapon here. So, you know, again, cool incentives to be able to jump in here. For anybody who's like, why would I need to do
all of that with a series of activities for you to find and immediately hop into. Before we get to the portal, though, I want to explain leveling in the Edge of Fate, because once you understand leveling, the portal is going to make more sense. I'll probably make another video when the expansion launches purely on this topic, which will reiterate a lot of things in this video, but I do want to give some kind of a preview now so that people can start to mentally prepare.
Okay, so Dado's going to give a preview now of how leveling works, or how that's going to work in Edge of Fate, because it's going to be totally different, apparently. Well, let's see.
In the Edge of Fate, we are getting a big stat and number crunch. Our current power floor is 1900, for example. In the Edge of Fate, everyone's getting reset back down to 10. Then, from 10 to 200 is the persistent level range. From 10 to 200, you're just getting any kind of gear, you're infusing it up, same kind of deal that we're used to. I assume this will mainly come from playing the expansion story content. We have that world tier system coming as well. So I'm guessing the bulk of this leveling up to 200 will happen in the campaign experience, but it can also happen, I think, in the portal. After 200, so 201 and higher, is the seasonal level range, although I don't think we were told what the seasonal level cap is, so either they're still finalizing it or it doesn't even exist. I don't even know. How do you get gear once you're done with the campaign?
How's it going?
Or outside?
We're checking out some of these videos now. We're checking out Dado's video about how leveling is going to work. We're trying to get an understanding of it. It sounds like so far it's going to be kind of the same. So leveling is going to get, power level is going to get reset, right? So right now, like he said, the power floor is like 1900 or something like that. So that's going to get reset back down to 10. And then he says from 10 to 200, it's going to be like the typical leveling experience in Destiny. You know, you just play anything, you do anything, and you level up, right? So that does align with the usual kind of situation when the DLC launches. You know, you jump into the campaign, you play any activity in the game, strikes, whatever, and you level up, right? So that sounds pretty typical so far. But then, like you mentioned, we also have the gear tier system. So that's something that we have to keep in mind. We have the gear tier system and we have the world tier system, which I don't know if anyone actually goes into that just yet. I don't know if they discussed that, but I know Bungie gave us some details on that earlier, so might have to go back and check that out. So excited for Edge of Fate? Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm really excited.
playing the
I'm
expansion
looking
story
forward to it.
content. We have that world tier system coming as well. So I'm guessing the bulk of this leveling up to 200 will happen in the campaign
And we'll take a
experience,
look.
but
We're
it
gonna
can also
pause
happen.
at a lot of these different, weapons and take a look at perks. So, like for example, we have a new perk here on this new machine gun, built to blast, gain aim assist ability and flinch resist while you have woven mail, frost armor, or void overshield. Like a perk like this. I'll be honest. I've always had this issue with Destiny, right? When it comes to PVE stuff, right? I look at woven mail, frost armor, void overshield. Those are mainly like PVE centric perks. So like when perks like that cross over with PvP specific things, so like aim assist, ability, flinch resist, I have a hard time with that because it's like I don't personally see the value in having aim assist, ability, or flinch resistance in PvE. Really doesn't come into play, right? It's really a specific thing to PvP. Um, and I don't know anyone who's really going to value a perk like this on a machine gun, right? So this might be one of those perks that's easily, just discarded on weapons like this. But maybe if you have more of a PvP type weapon, could be an interesting perk, right? Aim assist, ability, and flinch resist. Maybe on like a sniper or something. I could see that working with prismatic, where you pick up an orb and get like woven mail, frost armor, void overshield, or if there's any easier ways to get those activated in PvP. But if not, and I don't really see PvP players building into something like this, but if not, I could see this being like a very overlooked perk. So
And I think in the portal. After 200, so 201 and higher, is the seasonal level range. Although I don't think we were told what the seasonal level cap is. So either they're still finalizing it or it doesn't even exist. I don't even know. How do you get gear once you're done with the campaign or outside of the expansion destination? Introducing the portal. When you boot up the game and load into the portal, you're going to have some options on the bottom of the screen. Solo, Fire Team, Pinnacle Ops. We know these already. Load up one of these menus and you'll see a range of activities available to you. These will be the activities available for the next few months until the mid-season update, which will shift things around. These activities can be basically anything that Bungie wants to cycle in from any range of content. For example, the Coil and Savathûn Spire were activities that I could play at the preview event.
that is really cool. That is actually really cool. So essentially, we could see activities come back from past seasons, right? So usually seasonal content rotates out the game, but from what he's saying, activities like the Coil can be added to the portal. Like they got to play that. So that's actually really cool to see, right? We're going to have activities that previously we thought would never come back into the game and be playable, and be playable in a meaningful way where you actually jump in to level up. That's kind of cool.
Solo Ops has had some custom activities made for it. The Salt Mines, for example, is a section of the EDZ that's been turned into its own activity. And I have already given feedback on this activity, and I hope Bungie buffs it up because I had notes that were not positive, at least for the Dread version of it. Anyway, completing these activities will reward...
Okay, this is interesting. I thought these were going to be lost sectors. So they're not lost sectors. So Dato's saying that like some of these, like the salt mines, like you said, these are actually missions that they created just for this solo ops menu. This is the fire team menu, but for the solo ops menu for solo players. That's interesting. And I wonder what his notes were. Like, was his notes, I mean, I can't tell from how he said it, but was his notes based on it being too easy or too challenging? I'm thinking maybe it was too easy because, we are pretty strong. But again, it depends. Like, what's the difficulty and, all that kind of stuff. If there's modifiers, we don't know. We don't know, what version it he did. So can't really say. Bungie brings the old activities into the portal. Yeah. It sounds like that's what they're going to be doing. So that's pretty cool. Like, yeah, we already saw that you have stuff like Empire Hunt, Inverted Spire, Battlegrounds. Like, these are things that are in the game, like strikes, activities, and whatnot. But it's kind of cool to know that, you know, there's going to be solo missions that are made specifically for this. So they don't exist in the game. They're new. And then we're going to have older activities from past seasons. So like seasonal activities are going to be coming back into the rotation. Like everybody was a fan of the coil for the most part. So to have the coil come back in and be a playable activity or playlist, that's really cool. That is really cool. The last two is lost sectors. No. So Dado actually said those are missions. I thought they were lost sectors, but apparently they're not lost sectors. They are actual missions. So like I thought salt mines was a lost sector, but it's not. It's actually like a destination. I'm pretty sure there are lost sectors in there. But like this one, for instance, is an actual mission that they made. Like this is not a mission that exists in the game. Salt mines, this is nowhere to be found in the game. And it looks like it has some, you know, pretty easy objectives. Destroy some anchors, kill some enemies.
Positive. At
And
least
this
for
is
the
just
dread
like a
version
little
of it.
preview of
Anyway,
it. We don't actually know what
completing
the
these
whole
activities
mission looks
will
like.
reward an item.
So,
It'll
but it's
say how
cool.
many
It's
this
really cool,
activity
like
will
the
drop.
diversity,
Look
you know, the different
closer.
kinds of activities
And
that
some
they
of these
have.
activities have green engrams or maybe a specific weapon or armor slot linked with
But
it.
yeah, I want to see
Green-
because right now he's talking about how leveling is going to work after 200 power. So that's going to be like your typical powerful gear grind that we usually would have, right? Because you have like your base grind where you play anything and level up. Then you have your powerful grind where you have to do like powerful activities that give you powerful engrams. And then you have your pinnacle grind, which, you know, you do your pinnacle activities and earn that kind of stuff. That's what we usually do. So I'm trying to see exactly how it's going to change in Edge of Fate. And it seems like once you complete the base grind and you get to that power grind, that powerful grind, I don't know what it's called in Edge of Fate, but when you get to that powerful grind, then you're going to have to shift your focus over to the portal, it seems like. And the portal is going to be what gives you the gear that you need to level up from there up until, you know, what we presume is the pinnacle grind. And I think Dado called it the seasonal power level. I think that's what this part is. This is the seasonal power level. So yo, what's going on, Bones? You said all looks and sounds like good changes so far. Yeah, so far it's good. So far, you know, I mean, I haven't gotten a chance to look at everything. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen all the stuff already, but I'm slowly going through it. Right now, we're taking a look at how leveling in the portal is going to work.
Engrams means that activity will drop additional bonus loot on top of what you would normally get. And I believe these reset daily. So the goal here would be to find all of the activities that are giving out some bonus loot and focus on doing those first to accelerate your gear grind. The same goes for a specific armor or weapon slot that you're looking for if you need something more focused. If I open up Fireteam Ops, it is showing class items dropping from the Inverted Spire, along with some bonus drops. So if my class item's a little weak, boom, I run the Inverted Spire, I'm going to get a class item. Pinnacle Ops is showing a specific weapon for the day, and you're seeing the Whisper in here, Starcrossed is here, Kel's Fall is here.
See, that's really cool, chat. So like pinnacle activities, right? This is activities that reward you with like pinnacle gear. And you can see we got exotic missions here. We got the Whisper mission, we got the Kel's Fall exotic mission, we've got the Encore exotic mission, we've got the Starcross exotic mission. That's really cool that they're incorporating these different activities as activities that you can do in your power level grind. Like that's pretty cool. You know, that's really cool. And I like the fact that there's going to be, you know, new and updated rewards attached to these activities. So it's not like, you know, you're going to be playing them and getting the old, you know, gear and just grinding like that. Like they've actually updated some of the loot that you can chase. And I like the fact that there's specific loot dropping in these activities so that you can navigate the portal and you can actually decide like, all right, cool, I need a primary weapon, or I need a class item or a gauntlet or a chest piece or a heavy weapon. And as you're leveling up, you can specifically go to those activities and do them. That's really cool. We haven't had anything like that since the Revelry, if anybody remembers that, when we were actually able to go in and pick, I think it was bounties that you could do to give you pinnacle drops for specific pieces of gear. So This is really cool that it kind of gives you a deterministic way to power level. So it's not completely random. That's really cool.
Need something more focused. If I open up Fireteam Ops,
That's your
it is
favorite quality of
showing
life change
class
so
items
far.
dropping
Love the
from the inverted
difficulty
spire, along
customization.
with some bonus
Yeah, it's
drops.
really
So if my
cool.
class
Like
item's a little weak,
I like
boom,
that
I
we're gonna have difficulty customizations, and I want to see more details on it. Like how in depth does it go? I know at the higher end you'll have modifiers. At the lower end, you know, I'm pretty sure there'll be no modifiers. But like, how did the rewards scale and things like that? We know that the gear tier system exists. So on the low end activities, you'll get lower tier gear. On the higher end difficulties, you'll get higher tier gear. And we'll take a look at all the weapon and armor tiers and
I run the
how all
inverted
that stuff
spire,
breaks
I'm going to
down.
get a class item. Pinnacle Ops is showing a specific weapon for the day, and you're seeing the Whisper in here, Starcrossed is here, Kel's Fall is here. You'll also be able to hit some PvP playlists for bonuses or targeted farming, and for the first time, you'll be able to level up purely through PvP if you want to.
Yeah, so Dado can't show the PvP stuff, but hold on, I don't want to skip that in case he talks about something. So he can't show the PvP stuff, but what's really cool about PvP now is that you'll be able to have the full Destiny leveling experience solely in PvP. So you don't need to jump into the portal and do anything else. Solo, fire team activity. You don't need to do that. If you're a PvP player, you can just jump into PvP and level up fully. All the weapons, gear, armor, material, all that stuff that you need, you can do it completely in PvP, which is really cool.
PvP if you want to. While we're here, real quick, I'll talk about
Oh,
the
you like the
Cutting
targeted
Edge
drop?
PvP
Yeah.
playlist.
That is a really cool.
Cutting Edge is where
is a really cool
only
quality of life
new
drop.
gear is allowed. New gear is marked with a blue flag underneath the symbol representing the current season or expansion, the newest items in the game. There are also a few exotics that Bungie will be labeling as new gear every season so that they too can be used in this playlist.
Wait, which playlist was that, chat? I missed that. Hold on.
Cutting Edge is where, while we're
Cutting
here,
Edge.
real quick, I'll talk about the Cutting Edge PvP playlist. Cutting Edge is where only new gear is allowed. New gear is marked with a blue flag underneath the symbol representing the current season or expansion, the newest items in the game. There are also a few exotics that Bungie will be labeling as new gear every season so that they too can be used in this playlist. If you're tired of using the same old stuff and you want to see what's hot with the current season or the current expansion, Cutting Edge will be for you. I believe Bungie also plans on having PvE bonuses when it comes to new gear in order to incentivize using the newest stuff, although
That is interesting. So if I that's very interesting, chat. Hold on one second.
there were many
I just noticed this screen look crazy, don't it, chat? Is it for y'all on the stream? Does the screen look like crazy bright right now? I think the HDR is tweaking. Let me turn that off. I just looked over at the preview over there, and it looked crazy bright. Okay. I just turned that off. Okay, yeah, it looks normal now. That's crazy. It was looking so wild. Zeeming in the YouTube chat said Bungie also changed the season pass to season hub, like the heavy metals event card. Oh, that's cool. You thought it was his video? No. So that's on me. That was the HDR bugging out, making it look so bright. It should have forced it to SDR though, but I'll play around with that another time. It's all good. Okay, that's better. Cool. All right, chat. So let's keep going. It sounds like there's gonna be a new playlist though, was what I was gonna say. Called Cutting Edge, where you can only use new gear. That's gonna be kind of interesting. It sounds like that's gonna be a PvP thing, but I don't know if he mentioned they're gonna consider it for PvE or if they're doing it for PvE and there'll be like bonuses and whatnot. But that's kind of interesting. A playlist where you can only use the newest stuff.
conversation had on what this will mean for older armor that people still enjoy using for whatever those reasons might be. Bungie doesn't want to limit people too much anymore when it comes to the power grind, and they're trying to bring some meaning back to the power grind, on top of making it easier to target farm items. As a result, there does not appear to be a cap to how much you can level day to day. You can just keep grinding away as much as you want. Previously, we used to have daily or weekly caps on things like the Vanguard Ops playlist or something like that. That is gone. I'm not sure what the deal is with stuff like raid loot though, but within the portal, you can grind however much and however hard you want to grind. The only cap on leveling that I know of is the mid-season cap, which is 450. Now, how...
Wait a second. So chat, that means that we can level up as much as we want to. I mean, he said that there's going to be like a mid-season cap, which is 450. So it sounds like if the mid-season cap is going to be 450, we're starting at 10. So from 10 to 200 is do whatever you want. From 200 to, he says he doesn't know, but the mid-season cap is 450. So from 200 to wherever is portal grind. And then there's no caps on portal grind. You could just grind as much as you want to. So yeah, you can completely just no life destiny if you want. Up until one point we don't know, but there will be a mid-season cap. That's wild.
Which is 450.
That's a lot of power level.
Now, how easy or hard that'll be to achieve in 3 months, I have no idea just yet. As you level up, you will gain access to more difficulty options within the activities in the portal, which increases the tier of gear that you're getting, which has more stats available or more perk options or more enhanced perks on your way to tier 5 loot, which will be the best in the game. Speaking of those difficulties, let's take a look at what pops up when you actually select an activity. In this example,
okay, so now we're going to get a breakdown of the difficulty modifiers, chat. One thing that Dado just said that I want to point out for folks is you're going to basically, as you level up your power levels and whatnot, that's what's going to unlock these different difficulty options, as you can see here, right? So you can see here, we got 10 power level, 100 power level, 200 power level, right? So up until the 200 power level grind, right, you'll unlock expert. So, and 200, again, like we said, you can play anything. You'll get up to 200. Beyond 200 is where you have to jump into the portal and grind those activities. So that's where you'll unlock master, grandmaster, and ultimate. So within these different difficulty options, that's where your gear tiers, it seems like, are going to be dictated. Now, the only thing is, world tiers exist. So he's not, I mean, we'll see if he talks about it, but I want to see how that comes into the fold, right? Like where is the world tier something separate, or is that just a difficulty and we're just calling it world tier? You know what I mean? We gotta see that part, because that part I'm not sure about, because if the gear tiers, you know, if your gears tier is dictated just on the difficulty that you complete an activity at, you know, that doesn't seem too crazy, right? I mean, it makes sense, right? You have an ultimate mode and that gives you tier 5 gear, maybe even Grandmaster gives you tier 5, maybe, right? But then how does the world tier system work? Let me see. Maybe he talks about it. I don't know. He does also say these will not be all the modifiers available in the game. Okay, so there's going to be more modifiers, not just the ones that we're seeing here. Again, all of this stuff is early, chat. All of this stuff is early, so there's things that are subject to change. Pretty sure there's things we're not seeing. So, but just for this difficulty menu, we can kind of take a look here on the right. So it says your power is 220, combatant power is going to be 200, difficulty is going to be easy, and this is saying the difficulty is going to be easy at expert mode because you're over leveled in this activity. So that makes sense. Reward score forecast C+. So this is tied to the bonus drops, right? Well, what we saw in the portal. So where we saw, hey, look, if you earn a B or higher, you get this weapon. This is kind of what you want to look at. So it looks like this is going to be based on the difficulty that you do these activities at and the modifiers that are active. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Yo, what's going on, Khalil? What up? What's good? What's good? Ziming said after the major update, you'll get another cap. Oh, is that what they're saying?
Example, we have unlocked the expert difficulty.
For anybody just pulling up, we're taking
want
a look at some of the previews for Edge of Fate from some of the creators who got a chance to get their hands on early. So right now we're looking at the portal, how leveling works. And we're currently taking a look at how difficulty selection is going to work with different modifiers and whatnot, and how that impacts leveling and gear tiers and stuff
to run
like that.
expert as is, feel free to run it as is, or make it even easier with positive modifiers. But the harder you make the activity for yourself, the better your loot will become. Each activity completion is given a score/grade. To get the best rewards possible, you will want the A rank. That's as high as it goes as far as I know. There's no like S rank or anything. The game will calculate what score and grade it believes you will get with the modifiers you selected. And despite a small sample size, it is moderately accurate. It will be hard to get an A rank from what is predicted to be a C+ grade, for example. But it's also possible to grade worse than predicted. I did a run where I only got a B+ when A was predicted because I went too slow and just didn't perform very well. So, you pick your modifiers, which will increase your score, but also increase the difficulty. Enemy levels will increase, they'll gain bonuses or banes or whatever, but you control all of it. Then, you run the activity. I was told that this system is mainly balanced around simply beating the activity, not trying to speed run it or get super high scores or anything, but there is a loose time component that will affect your score. There's a time multiplier. In solo ops, there is also a randomly assigned objective to complete within the mission, something like get kills or precision kills or weapon kills or ability kill, something with killing. Really, it's simple. The higher your grade, the higher level or quality loot you will get. To give a random example, let's say you're at 200 power and you run an activity that gets you a C+. You might get like a 202 or a 203 drop. That same activity run at a B+ or an A grade might drop a 205 or a 206, something like that. It might also drop at a higher tier depending on the chosen difficulty. Pretty similar to the experience nowadays of getting a powerful tier 1 versus a powerful tier 2 or tier 3. The harder a thing is, the higher the power level or tier that it'll drop at. Which brings us to infusing this new armor. I didn't get the most extensive breakdown of this, so some things might not be completely accurate here, but it is still pretty representative of the experience. From 10 to 200, you got enhancement cores, burn all those as much as you want. I can't remember if you still use upgrade modules as well, but either way, from 10 to 200 should be very familiar. But starting at 200, you will utilize the unstable core instead of the enhancement core to level your seasonal power. Seasonal power is gear you acquire after power 200, and the seasonal bonus.
Interesting. Hey, what's going on, Joker? Dungeon run. We're not currently doing a dungeon run. We're currently watching some videos about all the Edge of Fate information and stuff that dropped today. So we're taking a look at how leveling is going to work, taking a look at the portal. So we're currently learning about like the leveling process and like the different difficulties and whatnot, and how rewards are going to be given out, different tier gear and all that kind of stuff. So just trying to get an understanding of all these things. That's kind of what we've been going through so far. We got a couple more videos that we're going to jump into, taking a look at like different exotics, weapons, armor, all that kind of stuff. There's like updates to the stats. So we got a couple of things we're going to jump into. But yeah, we haven't run any dungeons today. Probably won't. We're just going to be taking a look at these things. But yeah, Prophecy is out, chat. My Judgment Hand Cannon is waiting for me to go and get it, which I will be doing at some point. If we get through this stuff quick and it's not too late, I probably will try to run a dungeon or not. But we'll see. We'll see. Khalil said, just ran Eternity Prophecy. It's fun. Got some busted guns. That's what's up. Destiny taking you back to high school. Just praying for a C. Oh man. Just got in, excited about the new armor system. Yeah, it looks so far it looks good. Like I'm trying to take everything in. I mean, we're just going through it right now. But I'm gonna rewatch these things, again after the stream. We'll probably put together like a summary video, just trying to give like a high level overview of all this stuff, so it's easier to understand. Because all of these creators did a great job of like going into details and whatnot. So if you want the details, definitely go check them out. Right now we're watching Dado's video, and after this we're gonna check out one of Benny's videos as well. We got a video from Fallout. So there's a ton of people who got a chance to cover this stuff and go into details. But we'll probably try to take like some of the key things about like the new armor system, the gear tier system, the leveling system, and the portal. We'll try to summarize these things, so that folks can kind of get more of a condensed idea. Said, do we finally got to clean out our vaults? I would say this. I mean, I would pretty much say the same thing I said before. But chat, if you have armor, right? If you have armor, I would keep whatever your best armor, like your best stat armor, I would keep that. If you got really good artifice armor, well-rolled stats, and I would keep that, right? Because from what I've seen, and from what I've heard from other creators, it's essentially what we said before. This new system is going to slowly replace your best stat gear, right? So when the new system comes out, your gear is not going to immediately just become trash, right? Your best stat gear is going to hold you down probably for a good portion of, the content that's in Edge of Fate. But then at a certain point, once you start getting like tier 4 and tier 5 armor, that's where you're going to see the new stuff becomes better than what you currently have. Even like high stat artifice armor, which is going to get ported over to the new system, it'll be good, but not as good as tier 4 and tier 5 armor. So I would say keep your best armor, artifice armor, normal armor, whatever. Keep your best stat armor, right? Keep whatever 5 pieces that you equip, and maybe like a couple that you could swap out per piece. Everything else, I would get rid of, chat. That's a ton of space. For the folks out there who hoard sets and have like a ton of different sets, you won't need all that stuff. Because the new stat system is going to go way deeper than what we currently have. And the tier system is going to, add different abilities for you to tune your stats and whatnot at the higher tiers. So you won't need to keep half vault space worth of armor. You can get rid of a lot of gear. A ton of space that you can save. Joker said, I want exotics to feel special again. They should be completely random drops like D1. Easy to get what you want, but it doesn't feel special anymore. No, I agree with that. I don't know if Edge of Fate is gonna fix that. But I completely agree. Like I've never been popular for saying this, but I've never been a fan of deterministic loot. I think that it's good in spots, but making the entire game deterministic, like, hey, go to a vendor, you know what I mean, and just turn in tokens or currencies, or just get spammed with exotic engrams as a reward, right? Just to go to a vendor and just spam them to farm rolls. Never been a fan of that. Like, I love the feeling of exotics feeling special. And I know that for armor, for example, when it comes to exotic armor, you need it to drop. You need a way to farm it. That's true. But I've never liked the vendor approach where it's like, hey, take your exotic armor, go to the vendor and just spam it till you get the roll you want. It's like, no, I'd rather an activity that rewards you with exotic drops, similar to like what we have, right? The master law sectors. You would go into the master law sectors and do them. My issue with master law sectors was just that, hey, look, if you're featuring this class item, or not class item, if you're featuring a gauntlet or a helmet or whatever the case is, it was just guaranteeing those drops so that you're not worrying about RNG. Like, hey, look, I did a run, I didn't get anything on master. You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, I'm farming for an exotic helmet, for example, right? I'm already fighting to get the helmet that I want specifically. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, I'm fighting just to get an exotic to drop. That's just too much RNG you have to fight against. So I would have rathered an improvement to farming in the game for exotic armor, right? Um, but that's not what we got. We just got a ton of exotics now in our inventories that we can kind of go to Rahul and just say, give me this exotic and just kind of pull them, you know, a dime a dozen. So I don't know. Will exotics ever be special again? I don't know. I don't know if Destiny will ever go back to the point where we have really, really rare drops. I don't see that. I don't see that being a thing. Um, yeah, personally, I don't see it being a thing. Yeah, we'll take a look at the artifact mods. We will do that. It's more exciting getting legendaries these days. So excited for Judgment with Lord of Wolves and Time Payload. I'm not sure what Judgment is. Said that's where I disagree. If I do the activity once, I should be able to go to the vendor and use my engrams to get the robot I want. Time management, eh. I don't agree with that simply because of this. Like the vendor experience is literally like just go down to the casino and just cash your coins. It's like it's not engaging. You know what I mean? A looter shooter is about shooting to get loot. I want to kill enemies. I want to kill bosses. That should equal rewards. Not, hey, Rohul, what's up? I got 10 engrams. What you got? You know what I mean? It's just like, it's such an unengaging experience. Now, like I said, I agree with you in the sense of how Lost Sectors used to be, where you do them on a highest difficulty and you're not guaranteed an exotic. That I agree with. Shouldn't be that way. If you're doing anything on the hardest difficulty, you should be guaranteed a drop. You shouldn't be grinding, hoping to get a drop. You should be guaranteed something needs to drop. Guaranteed, right? I would have even compromised if they added a focusing system, right? Or an attunement system like what we have in Ride of the Nine and Onslaught, right? Even being able to go to Rahul and just attune whatever the daily drop is, right? If it's helmets and you're on a Warlock, go and attune the exotic. I would have been cool with that. So if you want to go and get a foe tracer on your hunter or a Celestial Nighthawk, go to Rahul, attune Celestial Nighthawk, and then go jump into the activity and grind on the hardest difficulty, guaranteed drops. I'd be totally fine with that. But I would rather that over just go to the vendor, cash in engrams. Like that's just a complete, like it takes away the whole experience of the game at that point. There's no, you're not even playing the game at that point. You're just playing the slots. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Judgment is new hand cannon, Lone Wolf, and Time Payload. Gotta take a look at that. Joker said, only reason for me is it's taken away from the PvP experience. Everyone runs the same BS. I want it back to being way more versatile because drops were random. I feel you. I mean, I feel you. I definitely feel you. All right, Chad, let's keep going because this is a long ass video.
Seasonal power is gear you acquire after power 200.
Okay. So increase power beyond 200 by obtaining new gear with seasonal bonus power. Earn higher seasonal bonus power by playing harder activities. Okay.
And the seasonal bonus levels that we used to get through the artifact are no longer there. It's all done through this gear.
Oh. Okay, so I get it now, Chad. I was wondering, what's the point of this? So you don't get bonus artifact power anymore, Chad. That's what this seasonal power is that we're grinding after 200. That power level that you're earning from doing the portal, that is replacing artifact power levels. So now you have to earn those bonus power levels. That's interesting. So the seasonal power level is only going to be active during that season. So I'm assuming that 200 is going to be your gear score in a sense. Like I'm trying to explain it in terms that we have right now. Like currently in the game, the pinnacle gear score is 2020. And then your artifact power can boost you above 2020. So that bonus power level above 2020 currently is what's now being considered seasonal bonus power that you're going to earn from doing, portal activities and whatnot. That's really cool. I like that. Again, adding gameplay to these systems. I like that. It keeps me engaged because now I have to go and get that power. Before it was just like, all right, you got your seasonal artifact. You're leveling up through XP. And in the background, you're just gaining bonus power levels. So it was this like invisible number that was going up and you didn't have any impact on that, right? It was just like, hey, play and it just goes up. Now it's like, no, 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 no. You got to go earn those bonus power levels by going to do these different activities, earning gear and whatnot. Now I like this. I like this. What's going on, Olivia? You said that Bushido armor set with the bows and swords is perfect for me. I got to take a look. I got to get there. I know there's a bunch of different gear set bonuses and whatnot. I don't know how many we're going to have, but that sounds awesome. There's an armor set bonus with bows and swords. I wonder what it does. I wonder what it does. So that's going to help during trials.
Unstable cores are used to level up your seasonal.
Oh, this is the seasonal hub that Z-Ming was talking about. So this is... Wait, what happened? Okay. But yeah, so the seasonal hub, this is where your season pass and everything is going to be at. So you have your daily challenges, your season pass stuff. This is cool. I like that we're condensing menus, chat. We're making it a little bit easier for things to just, be consumed and get directly to what you need. You don't have to navigate to 20 different menus. It's like, boom, seasonal stuff. You got your seasonal, your season pass with your rewards. You got your weekly challenges from your seasonal challenges. You got daily challenges here. Well, I don't know if these are seasonal challenges. Maybe they are. But this is cool. This is nice. Just like the event menu, like you guys said. You said the artifacts have new features, gear bonuses. Shooting range should be coming to the tower soon. Yeah, shooting range is going to be dropping at Edge of Fate.
Power and can be mainly obtained from dismantling this kind of armor.
Oh, wait. What did he say about this? Unstable cores? Hold on. I missed this.
Done through this gear. Unstable cores are used to level up your seasonal power and can be mainly obtained from dismantling this kind of armor. Although I don't recall if the armor needs to be over power 201 or if it's any armor. I'm guessing it needs to be 201 or higher though. It otherwise works the same way as Infusion has worked though. Infusion costs a certain amount of cores, you spend the cores, you infuse your armor, done. However, now instead of a flat one upgrade module cost, the cost scales based on how many levels you are increasing the armor. Going from 200 to 205 is probably a lot cheaper than going from 200 to 250.
I see. So we got some economy changes too, chat. So you have enhancement cores, which you'll use to infuse, right? From 10 to 200. And then beyond that, when you start getting into the seasonal power grind, you're going to use these unstable cores, which you're going to use to infuse your gear beyond 200. And it sounds like the cost is going to scale based on the difference in power level too. So if you're trying to level up some 201 piece to like 220, 230, that's going to cost more than just, like Dado said, going from like 201 to like 205 or something. That's interesting. I wonder how readily available these unstable cores is going to be, and like what kind of activities those are going to be behind. That's going to be interesting to see, right? Like this is adding some layers to the power level grind, which I think are going to be interesting. I think it'll be really cool to see like how this pushes players into certain activities, solo players and fire team players, as well as PvP mains. Like I'm curious to see how this pushes people to interact with the game.
To tier differences, there is no cost increase in core requirements though. So infusing a tier 2 into a tier 4 does not cost any extra. The only thing that matters is power. I don't have exact values for how many cores it's going to take to do this. I literally learned this information with an hour left at the event. Most notably though, unstable cores expire at the end of a season, which are now 6 months, requiring you to rebuild your reserves for the next season. Everyone starts from scratch every season. I'm guessing this is for a couple of reasons, but I assume the main ones are that Bungie wants people to more directly engage with the power grind, which is to say, not hoard tons of materials. Bungie
I mean, that makes sense, right? Because again, it's essentially just the same thing as artifact power. Artifact power resets at the end of every season, right? So now that we have this seasonal power grind and this material, this currency in unstable cores that you're going to use to level up your seasonal power, it only makes sense that at the end of the season, after 6 months, that currency and that power is going to get reset. Makes sense. I wouldn't see that happening any other way, to be honest, because that's not even how it currently works either. Like, you don't keep your bonus artifact power. And again, you got to think too, that bonus power is what's going to get you into those higher tier, activities. So you got to imagine that after, 6 months, when new content is now coming in, after you've had a DLC and a major, content update, with new activities and whatnot, you got to imagine that after experiencing all of those things and getting into the end game of that section of content, and then a new thing is coming out, you got to imagine that Bungie wants to refresh that experience and have you experience that, and go through a power level grind and, progress through that, because at a certain point, you do have to control the flow of the content, right, Chad? I know people hate time gating, and some people I'm pretty sure are going to say that this is some form of time gating, because it's like, oh, they don't want us to just jump into the hardest activities from day one. So some people, I'm pretty sure, are going to argue that this is time gating. But again, if you're going to have content spread throughout 6 months between DLCs and free updates and events and all that kind of stuff, like, you kind of have to control the tempo in some areas, right? And I think that controlling the pace that you get, not even the pace, because you can grind as much as you want, right? Dado did say there's no lock on seasonal power grind. There's no weekly cap. You can grind all the power you want as fast or as slow as you want to. There's no cap on the seasonal power grind. So it's not even really time gating, but it is in a sense, some can argue time gating, because it's pushing you back and delaying your entry into the harder activities. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind it personally. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I don't mind it personally.
is looking to have decision making actually be a factor in this game again to some degree, and I talk about this a little bit more in my stats video, which is also available to watch now, so check that out when you're done with this one. At the end of a season, everyone's power will get reset back down to 200 or wherever you were in the persistent power grind, and you will start the leveling process over again. I think this is going to be a rather big point of contention, just hearing me say this versus actually playing the game. And I want to actually experience this grind before I'm willing to come to any sort of conclusion on it. I'm
Basically
sure a
what I
couple
just
weeks
said.
into a season, we're going to be drowning in unstable cores regardless, so I'm not sure how impactful that's going to be just yet. But at the very least, I think Bungie wants to halt some of the currency
when you've been playing Destiny for a while, you just know this community so well. Like,
all of these values
I know
can
people
be
are going to
changed
find an
based
issue
on
with
feedback
this
as well. So at the moment, I'm not super concerned because we just don't know how it's going to play yet. I realize that set bonuses and varied armor stat packages might drive...
this is the Bushido set that Olivia was talking about. So if you have 2 pieces of the Bushido set, final blows with freshly drawn or reloaded weapons heal you. That's pretty cool. I wonder how much it heals you though. Like, how busted are we talking? If you wear 4 pieces of the Bushido set, bows, shotguns, or sword final blows temporarily reduce incoming damage. Damaging targets with those weapons extend the effect. Holy. That's really good. I wonder what kind of numbers are we talking here? Like, how much health are we healing, and how much damage resist are we getting here for how long? That's kind of nice, because we haven't gotten into the stats yet, chat, but there is a whole health stat there that's gonna also play into this kind of survival aspect. But that's kind of cool. I also wanted to take a look before we move forward because I kind of just let this video play because I was listening to Datto, but I want to show you guys what a tier 5 weapon looks like. Z-Ming in the YouTube chat said he used the new Titan exotic armor. Yeah. I saw that too. I didn't even get a chance to look at it, but I heard everybody talking about the new Titan exotic armor that lets you pull back the hammer like Mjolnir. Yeah, that's what was going on in B-roll. You see, it's kind of hard to like. I don't want to react to everything that's happening in real time because I'm trying to like focus on one aspect first. But yeah, I'm gonna be going back in the video because he did show off the new Titan exotic. Also, we're gonna watch a video that goes into the exotics. That's why I'm not even really jumping into that just yet. But I do want to just show you guys the tier 5 weapon here because this is just insane, chat. This is just insane.
Going from 200 to 205
hold on,
is probably a lot cheaper than going
thing. Look at this.
Going from
chat,
200
we have
to 250. When it comes to tier
every
differences, there is no cost increase.
Perk, chat. Every single perk. I'm talking barrels, mags, all the perks in the 3rd and 4th column, and your origin trait. Everything on your tier 5s is going to be enhanced. So if you're wondering like, how good are tier 5s? Pretty damn good, chat. They're going to be pretty damn good. And on top of just having all the enhanced perks and origin traits, you're also going to have a unique ornament on the weapon. So it is an animated skin. You can kind of see it
so
here.
Infusing a tier 2 into a tier 4
we'll take a look at the weapons videos
extra.
that are probably going to go into more detail than this.
I don't have
because Dad was just kind of using this as B-roll. So we're going to probably get a little bit more information on that. But I just wanted to give you guys a quick look at what a tier 5 weapon is going to look like, which is pretty nuts. I'm excited for that grind. Like I'm excited to go from that tier 1 to that tier 5. I'm excited to jump into the seasonal power leveling. Like I'm excited for all of these different things. Like all of these things in my head right now, as I'm thinking about them, like these are going to be reasons for me to jump on. And that's not even thinking about like any new content that comes with Edge of Fate. This is just the gameplay loop that I'm thinking about right now. And I'm like, yeah, that I want to do that. I want to play that, you know, and on top of, you know, just these things, you also have the update to the stats and the armor as well. So like build crafting is going to get deeper as well. So like all of these new systems are coming together in my head, and it's creating this picture of a game that I'm going to be putting a lot of time into once Edge of Fate drops. I will definitely be on this.
Have exact values for how many cores it's going to take to do this. I have contention.
Yeah, this was the this is the Titan exotic. I don't know what it's called, but you can see Datto here like throwing the hammer and pulling it back like Mjolnir.
This grind before I'm willing to come to any
which is just insane to just see happening.
A couple weeks into a season, we're going to be drowning in unstable cores.
But like I said,
so I'm not
there's going to be other videos going into
their
that.
Build crafting potential yet. I realize that set bonuses and varied armor stat packages might drive even more infusion than ever before, though, which can potentially make things feel very limited.
We have an Aeon set here. So Aeon, 2 pieces of the Aeon renewal set. After a final blow with any rocket or grenade launcher, sprint for a short time to gain speed booster. Speed booster. Is that like the arc speed bonus, chat? Is that like the amplified speed bonus? If you wear 4 pieces, it says once per activation of Force Converter, which is that one. Sprinting while at critical health, being suspended, or being slowed by a stasis effect will immediately grant speed booster for a short duration. What does this speed booster do? I'm curious, because if I'm sprinting while at critical health and hold on. This part I'm not understanding. So if you get a final blow with a rocket or grenade launcher, you get speed booster. Boom, that's Force Converter. But then it also says once per activation of Force Converter. If you're sprinting while at critical health, if you're being suspended, or if you're being slowed by stasis effect, it will immediately grant speed booster for a short duration. What? This one's a little confusing, unless somebody in the chat understands what this is saying. Because essentially what they're saying is when you activate Force Converter, which already gives you Speed Booster, right? When you activate Force Converter, then by doing any one of these things or these things happening to you, it'll immediately grant you Speed Booster for a short duration. So I'm like, wait, but I already have Speed Booster. So I'm getting it again. That one is confusing as hell, chat. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. That one is a bit confusing.
Limited if the amount of currency being given out is too low. People don't like to feel limited in their build crafting potential because they didn't have enough cores in order to make a build happen. I will be more than happy to give the feedback that unstable core distribution is too low, if it is indeed too low, if the grind is too long, or if it's not fun, all that stuff. I just can't judge it literally at all from this preview event because that is not the kind of system that I was interacting with at this event. So, what else is going on in the portal? Let's check out a brand new thing called the Seasonal Hub. If you played Heavy Metal the week that it was out, this menu should look pretty familiar. You got your rank track at the bottom, you got your daily and weekly challenges for bonus rep, you have your sub menus on the left. The play button on the left, so the second button, will bring up relevant activities to that particular event, and the title button under that will show you what you need to do to get the now revamped Conqueror title, or whatever title happens to be linked with this menu. Like, this menu is what Bungie is moving to with a lot of events in the game. Arms Week, a new event, or I guess like a revamped one, also has this menu stuff.
Oh, Ada's gonna be a part of Arms Week. Let's go. Listen, I've been saying Ada needs to come back, chat, for a long time. I'm like, dude, Ada is one of the dopest characters in the game, and she's just been on the sideline this whole time, just doing transmog. It's so messed up. It's so messed up. But I mean, look, she gets to participate in Arms Week. I'm cool with that. You know? Now all we need is for her to play a part in the story again. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. We need Ada back in the story. Absolutely, Bones. We love that. I like these menus though. Like I like the event card screen, the seasonal hub. I like, you know, having Arms Week here. I like the layout of this menu. It kind of keeps everything, you know, right in front of your face.
Style. Let's talk about the weekly rep track first.
Let's take a look though. Arms Week, it says Ada 1 waits in the shooting range in the tower. Visit her to obtain volatile weapon mods, experimental but powerful upgrades for this week's featured weapon archetype. Put those weapons to the test and activities to gather combat telemetry, which Ada 1 can exchange for focused weapons and other rewards. Interesting. So remember, these events that are going to be popping off in Edge of Fate, like Heavy Metal, Arms Week, and maybe some other ones. We don't know yet. But these are going to be weekly. So just 1 week, they're going to be active and you can participate. So it seems like Arms Week is going to have a featured weapon archetype and some volatile weapon mods, which are essentially like what we have right now in Heresy, like temporary, really strong mods that you'll be able to put on whatever that specific weapon archetype is. And it looks like you just kind of probably have to go out there, see, like defeat combatants. This one says with hand cannons. So like defeat combatants with hand cannons, probably in different activities. You earn the event currency, and then you'll be able to earn whatever rewards it is that they give from this event. But you know, it's like a cool like little thing that's gonna happen during the week, right? It's nothing major. It's not groundbreaking. I mean, we'll see what kind of loot you get from it, but I wouldn't expect it to be like insane loot, right? Like Heavy Metal gave us our first ever combat sparrow. So who knows what the reward can be from Arms Week? Maybe it's a weapon, right? I wouldn't expect it to be like some crazy busted exotic or anything like that. But you know, maybe it's like a unique weapon or something. Or maybe like a tier 5 weapon. Maybe something like that, chat. Maybe something like that. You said, yeah, there was an Arms Day in D1. There was an Arms Day in D1 with the gunsmith. Absolutely, there was. You used to be able to do like these bounties and then like put in these. I forget what it was, right, chat? You used to like select a weapon and then like at the end of the week, I think you'd get the reward package or something like that. I forget how it used to work, but yeah, we did used to have Arms Day in D1. But this one is a little bit different, it seems, but you know, it's definitely an homage to it.
This is a rep
Definitely a
track that
callback.
resets every single week, and it is stocked with various rewards, strange coins, materials, engrams to level you up, bright dust, exotic materials, and something else that I'm not allowed to talk about yet. Each daily challenge gets you 1 rank's worth of XP, while the weekly gets you 4 levels, or like however many pluses there are after XP. Although I do think there's an extra bonus rank that you get if it's your first daily of the day, or like first daily of the week, or something like that. Point is, there's a bonus for doing one of these the first time. There are 5 weekly challenges, so if you get all of those done, you will hit the max rep for the week. It's 20 ranks. Now, there's a little more going on here that I can't talk about just yet, though. I had to cut some stuff out of this video because they're keeping it a secret for now. In terms of the Conqueror title, it is no longer just do all of the GMs and call it a day. It is now based on something that might be getting a bit more attention from the general player base: seasonal conquests. These are activities with their own custom modifiers that you cannot change, similar to what a GM Nightfall experience is like today. Like, you can't change the modifiers on a GM, but with multiple difficulties, and they're meant to be a test paired with the level grind. Once you unlock the mission from hitting whatever level you need to get to, you run it and you try to beat it. Beating Expert, Master, and Grandmaster will progress your title, and a difficulty above Grandmaster, Ultimate, becomes available at the highest levels. Although at the moment, Ultimate does not appear to have any titles or seals attached to it, but I have been told that there may be an emblem involved for beating some Ultimate content. Another thing that might be a point of contention are exotics. I've been told that exotics will be locked to around a tier 2/tier 3 level as of the Edge of Fate. As a result, you are probably not going to need to regrind exotics too heavily. That being said, players will be given 20 vouchers to use at A-1 to purchase exotics with whatever new stat package you would like. These vouchers are account-wide, not character-wide. So you could buy a bunch of the same exotic hunting for some kind of a god roll, or you could buy 20 unique exotics to have an updated arsenal. It's up to you. Rahul's system of exotics isn't really changing, but he will be decrypting stuff under the new stat packages. I think that is most of what I wanted to cover about the portal and leveling and all that kind of stuff. Now, if you want the old director menu, that's not going away. It's just called the World tab now. It's right next to it. But I feel like I heard Bungie say that they would not be updating this map. Like, Kepler isn't on there on the map. And I was kind of...
That's interesting. The new location is not on the director. I mean, that kind of goes to what we said earlier, right? They're going to build up this portal, chat. They're going to be getting feedback on this portal. They're going to take feedback. They're going to update this portal. And who knows? We could see the world destination map. That could, you know, at some point in the future, that could go away and be fully replaced by the portal.
Kind of hoping that they would, so we'll see what's up with that going into the future. It does seem like things are shifting towards this portal system for the foreseeable future. I'm sure I also missed some stuff here as well, so we might learn even more once Bungie starts dropping some of their articles. How do I feel about all this? It kind of feels like the Fortnite-ification of Destiny in a way, where instead of seeing the world we inhabit, we're just at some launch pad, splash screen, picking activities that way. It kind of reminds me of when I used to have to physically go to places in World of Warcraft before the advent of the dungeon queue system. And then you just sat in the main city and waited for things to pop up. It feels like some of the scale of the world is going away in that manner. At the same time, though, it is going to make things much easier for the average person to be able to understand and filter, especially new players. Being presented with a screen like this, the portal, is probably a bit less daunting than the old director map, filled with tons of icons and submenus of destinations.
You know, only thing I'll say about that, chat, about what Dad was talking about with the portal and kind of reducing the scale of Destiny. Destiny's never really felt like that big of a game because it's never really capitalized on the planetary locations. You know what I'm saying? There was never really a reason for a ton of players to just hang out on a planet. Even the way that it currently works, right? The only difference between launching an activity from the portal or going to a planet and launching an activity is you would go to the planet, go to the location, pull up the menu from that location, and then match make into the activity. Like, Destiny's not a game where the activities are living in the live world. You know what I'm saying? And the only way that Destiny would have actually ever fulfilled that potential of feeling like this big world, this big game, like that I was describing it, is if that ever actually happened, where you can, like, if it worked like this, chat, where you went down to a location and you launched your mission and you're just in an instance of the live world. I mean, like, you go down there, you like, we have it in some cases, right? For like seasonal activities, we've seen that where you'll go to a planet, you'll go into a lost sector, and then it re-instances you into like a mission. That kind of stuff is what I'm talking about. Doing that in like public spaces and having activities or events in public spaces is one of those things that could make Destiny feel like this big lived in world, right? Giving players things to do in public spaces, but we don't necessarily have that. So I don't really have an issue with the portal, right? You know, the way that Dato's saying is like, hey, you're sitting on this menu screen, you're launching stuff, and it's like, yeah, that's true, but like, that's what you do right now anyway. You know what I mean? Like, when you launch a raid, chat, what do? You go to the menu in the director and you launch the raid, and then you go into the raid. When you launch a story mission, what do? You go into the helm menu, you click the mission, and then you launch it, right? Like, you're not seamlessly moving into activities in the world, and you know, the game doesn't operate in a way where the world feels large to the player because you're there in the world going into these activities. You do everything from a menu. So I don't really have an issue with the portal system in that way because the game already functions this way. The only difference now is they've condensed the menu. So rather than somebody asking me like, hey, I don't really know where to start, you know, that's a common thing that new players come in all the time and they say like, I don't know where to start. Like, what should I be doing right now? People ask me that all the time. What should I be, if I was just starting right now, what should I be doing? Right. And one of the things explained to people is like, okay, go to this place on the map, go to that place on the map, understanding the little tiny icons and what they mean and all that kind of stuff, right? That's a learning curve for a new player to be able to navigate the game and get into what they need to get into. But now with the portal system, it's all there, labeled, condensed. You know, it's the same Destiny experience, but in my opinion, it's just better laid out for people to be able to navigate and get into. I think it's going to be totally different, you know, for a lot of people, which is probably going to be the biggest pushback, because the only difference between the portal and the director is you see the planet. So I guess in a way it kind of feels a little bit organic, but it's still a menu. You know what I mean? You're not boots on the ground like in the world. You're just navigating the planets. But now you're just navigating tabs on the menu. So it's like, I mean, if you want to argue that, sure, I guess. But I'd rather this system for majority of the player base versus what we have now. I feel like this is a lot simpler to understand, jump into. You know, like if somebody says to me, look, I don't understand the power level grind. Like, how do I do X, Y, Z? This is way easier to explain to somebody. Yo, you need to level up. Boom, jump into the portal. You need a gauntlet. Do an activity that has a picture of a gauntlet on it. Like, that's way easier for people to understand and get into, even for veteran players, right? Veteran players might be sitting around saying to themselves, like, I need a gauntlet. I need this. I need that. Now you're just like, dude, I know exactly where to go and what to do. You know, I think that's a big win.
Of which you're not really sure what's worth doing and what's not worth doing. I'm interested to see how it plays out once it's actually implemented, though. I personally don't mind hopping into the tower and pre-planning my route through the game. I imagine plenty of people have gotten used to it, but that's because we already know how it all works. Onboarding new players into that system is a lot more difficult, especially with very little guidance in-game, so we'll see. Maybe I'll bring back my friend Spencer for another crack at Destiny once all of this is out, and we'll see how an actual new player feels about it. In terms of the leveling stuff, loot is being tiered off in a way that I don't think people are very used to. But at the same time, the loot that we have right now in the game is equivalent to a grind that doesn't really seem that brutal to conquer. Sure, raid weapons have gotten locked away behind the raid, but not every single raid weapon is even good, much less great. I fully expect the dads with 19 children and 47 hockey practices to come out and speak about their lack of time to go grind up their levels and all that kind of stuff, but I do think there is some validity to the claim. The highest tier loot is locked behind a somewhat hefty grind wall, in addition to somewhat of a skill wall, which I'm not as concerned about, but at the moment it feels mainly like a time-based thing than a skill thing. However, fire team power is still a thing, I'm pretty sure anyway, so those who might not have the time to grind can still link up with people who can, and only be a tiny bit behind in an activity instead of dozens of levels behind. I don't think Bungie will get it perfect on their first try in terms of the pacing, and there's nothing that says that they can't adjust though. I do expect the grind to initially be on the longer side, to then be potentially shortened, as opposed to the other way around though. If anything, for the optics of the situation. Like, no one wants to hear Bungie makes power grind longer because it was too easy, although I guess we'll see. As for the having to re-level every season deal, I know we've been dealing with similar things in the past. You know, seasons requiring 50 levels to grind, which got nerfed down to 10, which got nerfed to like once a year. People did not enjoy the leveling process, and after a certain point, neither did I. I'm wondering, with the revamps and the unlimited grind available to people going forward, if that is going to change any perceptions of the experience. This first time through might feel more novel or more fun, but is that novelty going to last a second time, a third time, a fourth time through?
That's fair.
We'll see. I do have my concerns. Something that I would like to put on the table or ask Bungie about, which I only thought of while I was writing this, would be something like, you know, instead of resetting back to 0, maybe you hang on to a percentage of your levels, similar to what happened with Commendation Score.
It's all good. We're gonna
now
have
we're
clips,
done.
and
I know that was
like
a
I
lot
said,
of
I'm gonna
info,
put together like a
and
summary
I'm not
video
even sure
because
I
it is a
got
lot of
every
information.
single bit of new information. I'm gonna have more specific breakdowns of things, like especially leveling once the expansion launches with, you know, the new player guide that I'm hoping to make happen. So as we get more clarity from,
I think we're pretty much done with this one. But I mean, look, that last point that he made, it's a valid point, right? So we'll have to see, because again, like anything that comes out, you're not gonna be able to just put something out and it just be perfect from the start. Any creators in the chat understand what I'm saying. Like no one gets it right the first time. I know a lot of times we like to look at Bungie and we say, hey, look, big company, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, how do you not do X, Y, and Z before? Like, people love to say that. Like, now you have people who are like, this should have been done 10 years ago. And it's like, pretty sure there's a lot of reasons why that stuff doesn't happen. And we know from, you know, reports and stuff, there's been people who have requested these things before. So it's not like the developers don't know about a lot of these things or consider a lot of these things, but for different reasons, they don't happen. Whether it's time, resources, or just upper management going against decisions. So it's like, you know, there's a lot of factors that come into play, but reality is we have it now. And when it comes to the seasonal grind, I mean, that'll essentially echo what we said. Like, people are going to have an issue with it. I'm pretty sure. Like, once the reset happens, people are going to be like, bro, I just spent all that time leveling up and then you reset my shit. And in my early opinion, having not played this, I have no issues with it because that's how artifact power works right now. So I have no problems with it. That's like, if in my opinion, if you have an issue with how the seasonal power leveling is going to work in Edge of Fate, you should have an issue with your bonus artifact power resetting. You know, but again, we'll see how it works, because I don't think that, you know, the first time we do it is going to indicate, you know, what the long term is going to look like, right? Because it could very much get monotonous and repetitive, like most things do. Nobody wants to do the same thing over and over and over again, but I don't think there's a one size fits all formula to like every problem, which I feel like a lot of times people try to make things seem like. Like I feel like a lot of times we get caught up in the if they did this, it'd be perfect. And it's like I don't agree with that because if they did that, after some time, I guarantee you'll find holes in it and you're gonna think of a different way to do it. So it's like it always is gonna have to change and adjust in some way. There's no one size fits all solution. You know what I mean? You said, are there any D1 features you'd like to see implemented in D2? D1 features? I'll be honest. I used to want strike specific loot. Not anymore though. I feel like that idea wouldn't fit. Um, like looking at the portal and how that works, like taking all of these different activities, not even just strikes, like different missions, exotic missions, strikes, law sectors, new missions, and seeing how they just put loot into them and they create this like deterministic grind for your power leveling. Strike specific loot just it doesn't feel like something that would really add anything to the game. Now I do think strikes need something, right? But I don't think strike specific loot is the answer anymore. Maybe like 5 years ago that would have been cool. But at this point it's just like it wouldn't be special. You know what I'm saying? It really wouldn't be special. Like um and there's just so many guns in the game. You know what I mean? There's so many guns in the game. You're gonna add strike specific loot for I don't know how many strikes we have in the game, but you're gonna add strike specific loot for all of those guns, and then how often you're gonna rotate them. You know what I mean? Then it just adds on to a problem that we already have, where it's like this last year, a big issue that we had was there's so many guns. You don't even have enough time to appreciate the guns you have. By the time a new season was coming out, it was just like, all right, cool. I got the Revenant weapons and I already moved on to the Heresy weapons. And then when Edge of Fate comes out and there's going to be more new weapons and it's like, maybe a few of those old things survive. Maybe I keep some for nostalgia, but you keep moving on to the new stuff. So I'm not saying that we should get less loot, but I don't think that, strike specific loot, like a loot request is really like what the game needs right now. So I mean at one point that was like one of the things that I wanted, but not anymore. You said we have armor transmogs. What about weapon transmogs? I'll be honest, I don't know if it was you that asked that before or somebody asked that before. Me personally, that's not something that I've ever thought about. Like I've never been playing the game and said, man, I wish this weapon looked like this. But I mean, if that's something that people want, sure, I don't see a harm in that. It's just a visual change, right? So if that's something that people want, I'm cool with that. It's just not something that I've personally ever wanted. I've never played the game and said, I wish my hand cannon could look like Yoden. You know what I mean? Or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just a visual thing, so I'm not opposed to it. You said we already get reskins most of the time. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I remember. I wish I could find the tweet, but I remember years ago, and this is what's so funny about being a part of the Destiny community is seeing people change narratives in real time. I will never forget when DMG put out a tweet. He was fielding the sentiment from the community, right? And he said, would players be okay with reskin content if that meant putting more time and resources into, the quality of like seasonal storytelling and, all that kind of stuff, like the activities and whatnot. And everybody was like, yeah, cool. I'm cool with that. And obviously we're here today. You guys know what the narrative is now. So it was just really interesting to see that because at the time it was like, it just made sense. It was like, yeah, cool. If you got to, at the end of the day, it's always going to be sacrifices. There's going to be cuts made somewhere. So it was like, yeah, cool. If you get a reskin of a weapon, and when I say reskin, I'm talking like not just a color change. I'm talking like we can see weapons that come in like from Season of the Wish or from Heresy or from Revenant, right? And they come in with the reskins, but they're like themed reskins, right? So whether it's like Kara theme or Scorn themed or Hive theme, so you come in with these like really cool ornament like, you know, skins over gun models that we might have seen before. I've always been fine with that. I've never had an issue with that. I honestly never really understand people's beef with that, where it's like, oh, this is clearly this sniper rifle that we had in D1. It's like, so like it's got new perks. The skin is themed to, you know, whatever the content is, and it looks cool. So it's like, so it's like every time we get a new gun model, it's like, oh, look, see, they can make a new one. Why not give us more? And it's like, I don't think me personally, I just don't think it's that big of a deal. Like guns rotate a lot, chat. Weapons rotate a lot. We get so many new guns in and out of the game. You could imagine the waste of time and resources to the artists and the developers who would have to be constantly putting time and effort into creating new gun models on a seasonal basis. You know what I mean? Do you know how many wasted guns would have been in the trash by now just within this year alone? That's all I'm saying. Like, it's just a lot of wasted time. And I would love to see a lot of people who say stuff like that. I would love to see you guys actually in a managerial position just to see how those decisions actually play out in real time. So y'all could actually, not y'all, chat, because, you know, we got, I know everybody here is not like that, but, you know, just so that folks can see what those decisions feel like in real time. Because I don't think a lot of people walk these ideas down the line to really think about the long-term impacts and repercussions of decisions. You know what I'm saying? You could tell people's experience when you say stuff like that. It's like, you got to think about that a little bit more, because we do get new gun models every now and again, and we do get a lot of reskins, you know, every season and whatnot. We absolutely do. But you know, me personally, like I said, I've just never had an issue with it because, you know, the reskins look good. They look good and they're on theme with, you know, whatever the content is. So it looks like we're going to be getting some new gun models in Edufate, which is cool. I'm down for that. I'm not, by the way, I'm not sitting up here saying like we don't need new gun models. That's not what I'm saying. I'm cool with new gun models, but I'm also fine with a good looking reskin. Just saying. Which Bungie gave you less sweaty lobbies? So sweaty is comedy. Don't recycle content has been vaulted. Wait, you said don't recycle content has been vaulted? I mean, I think it's pretty cool that in the portal we're going to be able to play the coil as an activity. I think that's pretty cool. If that's what you mean about recycled content, I'm cool with that. If you're talking about like the reskin stuff, again, are y'all really considering what it takes to create new models and add it to the game? Because I don't think it's as simple as people think it is. If you get 12 new weapons, because now seasons are going to be 6 months, right? But let's just think about the past couple years. If you were getting 12 new gun models every 3 months, chat, that's for seasons. And then DLC, you're getting 20 plus new gun models between DLC content, raids, dungeons. So that's like 20 and 30, 40, 50 for the whole. That's 50 plus new gun models for 1 year. And then that year ends. Like now we're going into Edge of Fate. And think about all the stuff in your vault right now, chat, that you're about to clean out. Do you see what I'm saying? And why you reuse and just reskin content? It's a waste of time and resources. It is. Now again, every now and again you drop a new gun model here, there. Like Edge of Fate, we're getting a ton of new gun models. We had a couple throughout this year. We've had new gun models, right? Like it's not like we don't get any, chat, but you have to pick and choose like where you're gonna do that. But it's wild to just throw out the statement of no, just give us all new stuff. Cause I think that we gotta think a little deeper, right? Somebody actually has to make that stuff. And let's not fall into, well, that's what they get paid for. Chat. Doesn't make sense. What do we want, right? We want good content. That's what we want. We want good content. You see all these updates and stuff we're going through, right? New exotics, new portal system, new power leveling, new stats, new gear tiers. All of that stuff takes time and resources. Would you rather them spend that time and resource to have somebody draft up a gun model, right? Then code it, then layer it into the game because it has to work in all aspects of the game. Then you have to animate it. Then you have to add sound to it, right? Then you have to play test it. Then you have to balance it, all that stuff, right? You got to make sure the animations work right with the different characters and all different. It's not just a, hey, just boom, just click, drag, drop. Every aspect of the game has to interact with every single model and asset that you add to the game. Just saying. Just saying. Zeeming in YouTube chat said, I hope we can have more new weapon frames in the future. Yeah, I mean, we are going to have new weapon frames. And like I said, we have had new weapon frames throughout this whole year. We have new weapon frames. Joker said, more enemies running light and darkness classes. I find it good enemies that can run your abilities could be an awesome example. Vandal with the ability to storm trance. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. But I'm not opposed to that. Like, there's going to be Fallen in Edge of Fate that have strained weapons. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. I don't think we'll ever see them wielding these abilities because, that's all tied into like the witness and the traveler and, light and dark. I don't think that all of a sudden they're going to start wielding it, but like how we see the Elixni and the Fallen using their technology to wield these things in weapon form, I think we'll see like that kind of stuff. Yeah, we'll definitely see that. Like we have the Lucent Hive that wield the light, and that, is obviously because the traveler, Traveler revived Savathun and, she created the Lucent Brood. So that makes sense. That part made sense. Screeves throwing Nova bombs. Both said that in the YouTube chat. Screeves throwing Nova bombs. That would be crazy. That's scary. That's scary. That is scary. Fallen with Siva weapons could have been a thing. Fallen with Siva. I mean, the Plague Lands is coming back. I mean, we don't know what that's going to be. So we gotta, there's still more things we have to wait and see, like what happens. But the Plague Lands is going to be coming back. Joker in the Twitch chat says Shanks using Thunder Crash, bruh. If these ads start popping supers, I'm done. I'm done, chat. Let's take a look at some weapons now.
Glad that it did live up
Let's
to
take
the
a
hype.
look at some
This gun
weapons.
is just amazing. Then finally, 5 tiers of weapons in the Edge of Fate, each of which is an
So this
improvement
video is
over
from
the
Benny
previous
Chat.
tier.
Again, all these
of
creators
are
that we're checking out their
objective
videos
buffs that
of, make sure you guys
weapons
go and
stronger
support
each
them.
tier. And at the
Go
top
check
end
out
of the
their full
spectrum,
coverage.
Tier 5,
All the
we see some
videos they
amazing
have
cosmetic
dropping.
options,
Like I
what
said,
they're debuting
Bungie
for
is
the
going to be
first time.
Bungie is going to be dropping some articles in a couple of weeks, maybe a week or a couple of weeks, going into further detail. So there's going to be a lot of information to cover throughout the month of June. So we're going to be, having some streams like this where we just kind of go over some information, sit down, talk about it. You guys can share your thoughts and whatnot. And then, like I said, we'll have some clips and some videos kind of summarizing everything. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff to go through.
I touch on this in far more detail in my gear tier video, which will be linked to the top right of the screen now. This video is going to focus.
Have I had dinner? Yeah, I did. I did actually. I ate before stream.
On the upcoming loot. So we're going to try and keep it to a simple explanation of the gear tiers and then show you some of this cool loot. Here's a quick visual comparison of a tier 1 weapon compared to a tier.
Okay, so chat. This is going to quickly give you like an understanding of how the tiers work, right? So this is a tier 1 weapon. Standard, right? Single perks in the 3rd and 4th column. You got your origin trait, right? This is like a typical weapon we have here. And you can see also in the top right, also gives you like an indicator of the tiers, just in case you're wondering.
Tier 5 weapon. As you can see, it's a night and day difference,
And this is the same weapon, but at tier 5. So you can see, like I said, it has like an animated ornament that's on it. You can see the tier 5 right here in the right side. And I just think this is insane. Every single perk, barrel, mag, third and fourth columns, and the origin trait, all of it is enhanced. I think that is just insane, chat. Like, these are going to be so much fun to grind for. Because, like, what does an enhanced barrel and mag even look like? What does an enhanced origin trait look like? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's going to be insane. But this is going to be what a tier 5 weapon looks like.
These tier 5 weapons are going to become the goal for any veteran Destiny 2 player. Of course, this is a comparison between the lowest and highest tier of a weapon. So what comes in between these? Well, as you can see, tier 1 weapons are entirely basic. You have your barrel, mag, 2 perks, masterwork, nothing crazy here or out of the ordinary at all. Moving up to tier 2, these weapons will drop with pre-enhanced traits and then will function just like today's crafted weapons. At tier 3, weapons will have a third perk option to select from in both slots, as well as access to the new enhanced mods, which we'll get into in a second.
Oh, and we have enhanced mods too? This is crazy. These are going to be the most busted weapons we've ever had in Destiny. Like, this just took power creep to a whole other level, chat. This is insane. All of this stuff is enhanced?
Second, tier 4 weapons will have enhanced traits and mods, 2 perk options to choose from, as well as enhanced barrels and magazines for the first time in Destiny. And then at the top end, tier 5 weapons will have all of the above, enhanced traits, 3 perk options to choose from in both columns, enhanced barrels, magazines, even enhanced origin traits, and then some amazing new cosmetics. Tier 5 weapons will feature a unique ornament, just like our hollow foil and shiny weapons we've become accustomed to since Into the Light first introduced them, as well as an entirely new cosmetic slot for kill effects. Think in the mind of a sweaty confetti enjoyer, you no longer need to sacrifice your mod slot just to use this. You can always run a new enhanced mod on a tier 5 weapon, as well as a unique kill effect. I want to note that these tier 5 shiny ornaments are always animated, and even if you apply a shader with no animated effect, it will change the color scheme but still keep that amazing, cool, moving skin. I personally love how much these tier 5 weapons have going for them and how much
I love
better
that
they look,
sniper.
and I know I'll personally be grinding for all of the best loot that the Edge of Fate has to offer. Now I've explained the weapon tiers and what you can expect to get when you get a tier 1 to a tier 5 drop. Let's have a look at the 3 brand new archetypes coming in the Edge of Fate. There are 3 entirely new weapon archetypes coming to the game. And these are as follows. We now have high impact longbows. These bows are slower drawing but harder hitting with the ability to over-penetrate targets.
We got new bows, chat. High impact longbows. Wait, is that like a legendary wish ender? High
Impact longbows.
High power draw with over-penetrate. That's like a legendary wish ender, chat. That's crazy. That's going to be nuts. I wonder what the damage is going to be like with that bow. Wow,
these bows are slower drawing but harder hitting with the ability to over-penetrate targets. And while I haven't historically been much of a bow enjoyer, the idea of getting a collateral with an arrow in PvP is really cool to me, and I'm excited to try it out. Next up, we have a really interesting one. Ever since rocket sidearms came to the game, they've been incredibly prevalent and a fan favorite. Bungie saw this and ran with it. So for the first time ever, I present to you the rocket frame pulse rifle. This feels incredibly strong. I was kind of mind blown by how fast I was shredding through some of the more powerful and higher HP targets in PvE. However, the trade-off is that you will run through ammo really fast with this. So make sure to keep that.
Chad, we have rocket assisted pulse rifles. I mean, but you can see, like Benny says, you run through the ammo pretty quickly.
I'm blown by how fast I was shooting.
There's only
more powerful and higher HP targets in
8 shots in the mag.
trade-off is that you will run through ammo really fast with this.
But it looks like it does a lot of damage, though.
Monitor your ammo economy at all times.
Wow, we have rocket sidearms and pulses now.
The most excited for is the spread shot hand cannon. It sounded
Spread
weird
shot
to me
hand
at first.
cannon?
Cool idea, but it could so easily be underwhelming in action. But boy, was I wrong. These things are absolutely insane. I have no doubt that if they stay just as powerful as they were in the build we were playing,
was that a 2-shot?
You'll find a very comfortable spot in the meta. They have the ability to 2-tap to the body from pretty significant distances, and you can take someone down with one body shot on a melee. And of course, being a primary, they have infinite ammo. To me, it kind of felt like I was running around with a lightweight frame shotgun with infinite.
Chad, this is literally a shotgun hand cannon. What? 2 shots to the body? That's insane. We got to see what the damage fall is, because he says that you can get a kill from a pretty significant distance. Like, what do you mean? Why? What do you mean? That's crazy. 2 shots to the body, Chad. This is literally a shotgun and a hand cannon.
For ammo, and I was blown away by how
And
useful
it's
this
primary.
thing really was. For those of you that are sick of the shotgun,
Okay, see that
we've historically seen in Destiny.
It's
I
not
mean,
crazy
better get used to it,
distance.
'cause I do not think you're going to like this one. Now we've touched on the 3 new archetypes being added. It's time to take a look at some of the more
It looks like you have to
interesting
be pretty close to get 2 shots off, because from like hand cannon range, you're not two tapping somebody from the body. That's gonna be interesting. I'm actually more interested to see what that's like in PvE, but that's kind of nutty for PvP.
specific loot, starting with the Trials of Osiris weapon. Trials of Osiris
And
will
they
feature one
broke
of
the
these
game?
new spread shot hand cannons.
Oh my god, chat! This is a new Trials hand cannon. Oh yeah, we're looking at Trials weapons right now. This thing is sexy. It's got barrel constrictor, grave robber, threat detector, desperate measures, 1-2 punch, opening shot. That's crazy. This thing is gorgeous.
Cannons, the Aureus Neutralizer. This, of course, is what a tier 5 version of the weapon looks like, having everything possible masterworked, and look how sexy this thing is. Some of you may
Oh, are these all the perks it can come with? Grave robber, threat detector, threat remover, barrel constrictor, proximity, power. That's a new perk. Maybe barrel constrictor would be good on something like this. And they have a Dodgio cascade point. That's interesting. Opening shot could be good to give you that bonus range. Ooh, what does barrel constrictor trench barrel look like? There's some interesting combos here, chat. There's some interesting combos here. Wait, I'm sorry. Is that, chat, look up in the top left. Is that the thumbnail for Not Forgotten? Because that is not the Trials hand cannon. That is not the Trials hand cannon thumbnail. That is a Not Forgotten hand cannon up there. That's what is that?
I have noticed we have new Trials and Crucible Origin traits that are now enhanceable. These traits are a PvP player's dream, so I'll touch on these briefly too. First off, we have the new Trials Origin trait, Fleet-Footed.
Ooh,
Healing
he is showing off new origin traits. Okay. New Trials origin trait, Fleet-Footed. Dealing damage grants you an extended window of increased movement speed and airborne effectiveness. Landing a final blow increases these effects. That's not bad. That's not bad. Just for dealing damage, you get increased movement speed and airborne effectiveness. That's not bad at all. That's actually
damage grants you a short
pretty
window
good.
of increased movement speed and airborne effectiveness.
You
Landing
love
a
the
final
ammo
blow increases
finder
these effects.
meters?
Sounds insane. Every PvP player wants AE, and getting it just for
Oh
hitting
yeah,
a
I didn't
bullet
even
and
notice
dealing
that.
damage seems like a
Yeah,
very
down in the
consistent
bottom
benefit
left, I
in
didn't even
Crucible.
notice that.
And now for the new Crucible Origin trait, Roar of Battle. Being in combat for a short
There's a new Crucible origin trait. Nice. That's good. I'm glad we have something like that. Being in combat for a short duration increases handling and stability for an extended duration. That's pretty good for like shotguns and stuff. Shotguns, snipers. I always like bonus handling for like special weapons. So that's pretty good.
duration increases
That is
handling and
pretty good.
stability. Handling and stability are always nice to have on weapons. I think this will be particularly beneficial
You have that on a shotgun, barrel constrictor, trench barrel. It's pretty good fun. Yeah, I want to see what it looks like on this hand cannon.
on shotguns and close range stuff, but really nice buff overall. These new origin traits will become mainstays in the Crucible for sure.
Oh, wait a minute. Yo, he is using Not Forgotten, chat. Look at this.
I love that Bungie are leaning into PvP weapons, having an objective buff inside of PvP. On tier 5 weapons of any Crucible
Okay,
Trials
wait.
weapon, you will
Is
also-
Not Forgotten coming back? Like, are they reprising this, or is he just using no? Did we get to see the menu? Let me see Benny's inventory. Did we get to look at Benny's inventory anywhere? Did Benny go into the inventory? Oh man, I don't think we get to see his inventory. Damn, bro. What the hell? Just casually
of
using
course,
Not
have the
Forgotten.
enhanced version of these origin traits, but we don't
No, this is Not Forgotten. This is 100%. I know my baby when I see her. Them two lights right here. That's Not Forgotten. That is 100% Not Forgotten.
know the numbers for these yet. The next new Trials of Osiris weapon is going to be the Auric Disabler. The Auric Disabler is an absolute monster.
Whoa. What is this? Precision frame auto rifle? This thing looks, that is sexy.
And in the internal playtest we were playing, pretty much everyone started using it. It's a
Strand
450
auto.
RPM precision frame auto rifle with
This thing has Gutshot Straight, Dynamic Sway, Hatchling, Dragonfly, Lone Wolf, Zen Moment, Desperate Measures, Kill Clip, Tear, Onslaught, Sword Logic. Damn, this thing is juiced, Chad. This thing is absolutely juiced. You can go Lone Wolf or Zen Moment with Kill Clip or Target Lock. I mean, Sword Logic is going to be pretty good too. You can go Dynamic Sway. I mean, all this stuff is going to be enhanced too. You can go Gutshot Straight even. You can go Gutshot Straight Target Lock, chat. I mean, that's crazy. This thing got some perks on it. Yeah, Gutshot Target Lock, exactly, yep.
with all the bells and whistles. We were given certain random rolls, and while we were able to ask for more, I didn't want to overdo it and be that annoying guy from Reddit telling the devs that my RNG is awful and I need more loot. Instantly, you can see the new origin traits are enhanced. We have Sword Logic, Lone Wolf. This thing has got a lot going for it, and I have no doubt we're going to become very familiar with this gun.
Wait. He took a look at the barrel there real quick. Hold on, I want to see that. Okay, here's what it looks like, chat. So an enhanced barrel, right? We have arrowhead break here. It says lightly vented barrel, greatly controls recoil, increases handling speed. So the enhancement improves the base weapon stats. So is that just a boost to all the weapons?
I've become very familiar with this gun in the Crucible. Some of the previous Trials weapons have also had a facelift and given that tier 5 upgrade. Guns like the Unwavering Duty Machine Gun, the Aisha's Embrace Scout Rifle, and the Forgiveness Sidearm have all received this buff. There's very likely going to be more available at release, however these are the ones that were applied to our accounts in the test build. As for exotics, I'm going to take a deeper dive into that touching on this
to see like what you're actually getting from
there will
these
be dedicated
barrel
videos
and
to
mag
the 2 new
enhancements.
exotics on the channel playlist. No introduction needed for this one. First, we have the New Land Beyond. This is usable in the current live version of Destiny for those who have pre-ordered the Edge of Fate. We have the Graviton Spike exotic hand cannon.
This is the hand cannon I want, Chad. This is the one we want. I want this shit so bad. You want a new DFA? Also a new solar rocket sidearm. A new solar rocket sidearm. I must have missed that one. Or did he already show that? Was that in Trials? Because he kind of went through some weapons really quick at the end there. It was like a machine gun. Yeah, it was a machine gun sidearm. Those were weapons we already had. Right now we're looking at exotics, but I didn't see a new solar rocket sidearm just yet. And you said a new DFA. Is there a new DFA? Are there more weapons that I haven't seen yet, chat? Right now we're looking at the new Graviton Spike hand cannon, and this is one exotic that I'm really looking forward to.
Many of you will likely recognize this gun from all the promotional trailers for the Edge of Fate, and I'm really glad that it did live up to the hype. This gun is just amazing. Then finally for the exotics, we have the third...
Hold on. Before we get there, I'm trying to see what the perk was.
...hand cannon. Many of you will likely recognize this gun from all the promotional trailers for the Edge of Fate.
Oh, he skipped over the perk.
I'm really glad that
he skipped over the perk, but we could wait. Hold on, chat. We're gonna try to take a look at that because he very quickly like went over it. Hold up. Let's see if we can catch it.
From all the promotional this guy from all the
oh wait, I had it.
The Edge of Fate.
Oh, you son of a... Come on.
Hey.
Oh my God, bro. It's so quick. 5 seconds is too much.
Promotional trailers for the Edge of Fate. The promotional trailers.
Oh, this is so crazy, chat. I'm trying to... Oh my God, bro. This is crazy. You said no, sadly DFA is old. Can get it from Zavala. Yeah, I was trying to go frame by frame, but it skips right over it too. It skips right over it.
edge of fate.
Come on, dog. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Marshall trails the edge of
Sorry, Benny.
fate.
There it is. Got it, chat. Got it. I got it. So the we just had to do so much work just to see this damn perk from Benny. All right, so Graviton Spike, the perk says temporal anomaly. While overcharged, each mode expends a portion of overcharge for additional effects on final blows or precision hits. So for arc, it calls down lightning strikes, and for stasis mode, it creates an explosion and a formation of stasis crystals. Interesting. So that's while overcharged. And I'm assuming you get overcharged from just getting final blows or precision hits. Let's see. Intrinsic trait, temporal manipulation 4. Press the reload button to swap between fast firing arc mode or slow firing stasis mode. Final blows and precision hits overcharge the opposing mode to enable additional effects. So essentially, if you're on arc and you get final blows or precision hits, you will gain overcharges for stasis and vice versa, right? So then when you're overcharged, each mode that you're in, right? So if we are on arc and we build up overcharge for stasis, we swap to stasis, now we're overcharged, right? Basically any final blow or precision hit will consume those portions of your overcharge. And for example, with stasis, it'll create an explosion and form stasis crystals. And if you get the overcharge on arc, it'll call down lightning strikes. Now, what's interesting is I wonder if the lightning strikes will synergize with your arc abilities. Like, is that lightning strike considered bolt charge? I would imagine if it was, it would have said that. So maybe it's not, but that would be kind of nutty, chat. That would be kind of nutty if that was bolt charge and you could kind of build into it. That'd be kind of sick. But, you know, still, it's cool nonetheless. This is a really cool exotic, dude. Really cool exotic. I'm looking forward. This is probably the one I'm the most hyped for overall. Mask of Bacchus and Fealty. Thundering Raiju buff. Yeah, like will it synergize with that? I don't know. I am curious to see like what this is gonna synergize with. But let's see this next exotic. Oh wait, let me put it back to normal speed.
Really glad.
What? There we go.
Glad that it did live up to the hype. This gun is just amazing. Then finally for the exotics, we have the third iteration. I was actually blown away by how
This thing looks sick. What is this? Scout rifle? Third iteration?
powerful this gun was. It's very unique and definitely exceeded my expectations when I actually got some hands-on time with it. Once again, sorry to breeze over the exotics, but like I said, there will be dedicated videos for both the Graviton Spike and the third iteration if you want to see more gameplay and opinions on how they actually function in game for both PvE and PvP. Now we're moving on to a big ticket item. During Into the Light, we saw the return of the Luna's Howl, but we kind of all wish for something else. That wait is over, and we're finally seeing the return of the not forgotten, now named the Solemn Remembrance. The only suitable replacement for the Rose in comp. Not Forgotten 2.0 features a staggering perk pool with everything a PvP
Wait,
player
what
could
did you
ask
just
for.
say about comp? So, yo, chat, it is confirmed.
2.0 features a
Not Forgotten is returned, but it's now called Solemn Remembrance. That's kind of cool. Not Forgotten, Solemn Remembrance. But what did he just say about comp?
The Solemn Remembrance. The only suitable replacement for the Rose in comp. Not Forgotten 2.0 features...
Wait, he said the only suitable replacement for Rose in comp? So is this going to be a comp weapon? Is this going to be the new comp weapon? Holy shit.
Features a staggering perk pool with everything a
I
PvP
will
player
be
could ask
playing
for.
comp.
It's completely
I will
stacked and will definitely give you a reason to play comp again. As you can see, the Solemn...
Yep, it will be from comp. Chat, I will be playing comp for this. So in the third column, we got Lone Wolf, Slide Shot, Moving Target, Impromptu Ammunition, and Headstone. And then fourth column, we got Firefly, Keep Away, Eye of the Storm, Magnificent Howl, Opening Shot, Rhyme Stealer. Not bad. We got Slide Shot, Mag Howl. You can go Lone Wolf. I mean, shit, you can go Lone Wolf, Keep Away. You can go Lone Wolf, Eye of the Storm, Lone Wolf, Opening Shot, Moving Target, and any of those perks. I mean, it could be PvE. You can go Headstone, Firefly. Like, what? Headstone, Rhyme Stealer. I don't know what Impromptu Ammunition is, though. That's going to be interesting to find out what that is. Yeah, dude, it's going to be a Stasis Ink Cannon, yep.
Again. As you can see, the Solemn Remembrance also features grips instead of origin traits that are also enhanced on the Tier 5 version. From the World Loot Pool, we have the new Precipitial Precision Frame Shotgun.
Okay, this is a World Loot drop, chat.
The shotgun boasts incredible PvP perks while having access to enhanced.
Okay, this is the Precipitial Shotty. We got Proximity Power. Damn, this thing has a big-ass perk pool. I mean, it is a world drop, so it makes sense. Proximity Power, Moving Target, Repulsor Brace, Reconstruction, 1-2 Punch, Threat Detector, Lone Wolf. Binary Orbit, that's another new perk. Vorpal Weapon, Opening Shot, Slide Shot, Swash, Discord, you say. That's a big-ass weapon perk pool. I'm not going to lie. There's not too many shotguns that I keep anymore. I don't know if anybody else kind of feels the same way, but I don't usually keep shotties anymore. There's so many 1-2 punch shotties in the game. I don't use them, chat. I honestly don't use them. Like PvP is like the only place that I even think about using shotties. But not in PvE. So if I was gonna use this shotty, I mean, got Moving Target in the third column, Lone Wolf, Threat Detector, and then fourth column you got Opening Shot, Slide Shot. Probably be what I go for. If I was gonna go PvE, probably like 1-2 punch, Vorpal, Repulsor, Destabilizing, Reconstruction, Swashbuckler, like something like that. Don't know what Binary Orbit does, but
barrels, magazines, traits, etc. I think the new king of pellet shotguns is definitely here. Stars and Shadow 390 RPM high impact pulse rifle is back and better than ever. Here we can see a tier 5 version stacked with perks like Zen Moment, Desperado, and Sword Logic. And because this is a Crucible weapon, it's also of course featuring the new Roar of Battle trait enhanced. Next up we have the new rocket assisted frame pulse rifle I was talking about.
This thing is crazy. A rocket assisted frame pulse. Like what? It has Master of Arms, Bait and Switch, Slice, Hatchling, Rewind. What the heck? This is crazy, chat. This is insane. I want to see some damage testing for this, which is why I cannot wait for the shooting range to come to the tower. I can't wait.
The Mint Retrograde. This is the only rocket frame pulse rifle we had access to in our build, and as you can see, we have some really interesting perks here.
There's
Things
so
like
many
Rewind
good
rounds,
perks.
Bait and Switch, Master of Arms are all very interesting on a weapon like this. You can also see that the rate of fire is a staggering 200, which I think is what surprised me the most about this weapon. It shoots so fast and deals such high DPS that it felt like it's better than most special weapons in the current sandbox. However, as I explained earlier, this 200 RPM does cause you to absolutely shred through your ammo reserves very quickly. Continuing.
I wonder if if the trade-off is going to be good though. You know what I mean? Like if you're using one of these rocket assisted pulses and putting it into your damage rotation, maybe for like DPS or something like that, I wonder how viable it'll be. Because I know that the ammo economy is probably going to be trash, but there's also an update to the ammo system. So it's like maybe it could be a little bit more viable than we think it is, even though the ammo for this weapon is pretty, you know, pretty questionable. I don't know. Maybe there's a trade-off here.
On the theme of rocket frame weapons, we have a new solar rocket sidearm to take over from the aberrant action. This is the returned
here's the new rocket, the solar rocket sidearm that you guys were talking about. It is a world drop weapon. This thing looks sexy. What? Oh, this thing is gorgeous. Returned memory? I need that.
Over from the aberrant action. This is the returned memory that comes from the Crucible playlist. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to use this or learn any roles.
Dude, that thing looks insane. That's from the PvP playlist. Oh, that is gorgeous. It comes with impromptu ammunition, lead from gold, blast distributor, burning ambition. Don't know what that is. Incandescent one for all. I don't think this is all the perks.
And I had to take this footage from collections. I didn't actually get one to drop, but as you can see, it comes with a new Crucible origin trait. I really enjoy the weapon design of this thing. Here we have a seasonal Kepler weapon, Last Thursday, 390M Adaptive Frame Pulse Rifle is another fully decked out tier 5 weapon that features perks like Moving Target and Head Seeker. I didn't get any other rolls on this one, so I'm not certain how deep and stacked the perk pool is, but this is definitely one to keep your eye out for when playing the seasonal content and story. Moving on to our first.
So you said this is a Kepler weapon, a Kepler seasonal weapon. Okay. Interesting pulse rifle. This is a 390 RPM. This one could be pretty good. New strand
playing
one.
The seasonal content and story. Moving on to our first ever
Mercury
high impact
A?
longbow, we have the Hake Mercury A. As we can see in the intrinsic trait description, this bow actually has the ability to over-penetrate targets. Nothing super crazy to note from the perk pool here, other than that kinetic tremors.
Oh,
is
it's got
incredibly
kinetic
strong
tremors on
bows.
it?
If you don't already have
Shit.
the Accured Redemption from Garden of Salvation, you have
Shit. That's crazy. That's crazy.
a shiny new option. Next up, we have the fastest decline
Ooh.
sidearm at a tier 5
I
rarity.
love
This is
this gun model on sidearms. I love this gun model. I want this just for this.
360 RPM lightweight frame sidearm that I actually do love the design of due to the silencer. Fortunately, the Radiant Downstream nerf was put into the
The
game
bow is
before this gun
broken.
was added, because as you can see, we have the hip fire grip and offhand strike enhanced roll. It would have been crazy. Now for another spread shot hand cannon that is available outside of playing
Oh,
Trials
so
of
there's going to
Osiris
be
if
multiple of
PvP
these
isn't for
spread
you.
shots. So we got the one from Trials, and we got one from where do you say this is from? I think these are from Kepler. I don't know where this one's from.
We have the Nutria Ferra from Hake. Interesting idea to use something like Barrel Constrictor on this.
Yeah, so this one has some of the same perks as the Trials one, like Barrel Constrictor. I don't know if the other one had 1-2 punch. But this one has Incandescent, Frenzy, Swashbuckler, which can go with a melee build. Transcendent Moment, what is that? Slide Shot. Slide Shot could be really good on something like this.
But I didn't get a chance to test it myself. I was a little bit too busy enjoying the Trials of Osiris version.
That was
and
about
we
to
did
rise
have
up even
limited
further
time.
on the go
Richard
list.
Jacqueline's back, sporting the new name,
Oh,
the Shoreline
yes.
Dissident. Fortunately, I only had the chance to inspect and use a low tier
I
version
love
of this gun,
this-
but it
this
does come in a
frame.
tier 5 version. It's a rapid fire
I
140.
love this frame. I will be getting one. I will be getting one of these. We got Lone Wolf, Closing Time, which is probably what I'm going to be going for. Lone Wolf Closing Time. We also got Explosive Payload Closing Time we can go with. It's got some good PvE perks too. We got Shoot to Loot. We got Precision Instrument, High Ground, Demoralize even. That's not bad. You can go like Ambitious Assassin, Precision Instrument if you want to. But yeah, I'd probably get this and do PvP perks. Oh, it's also got triple tap. Yeah, you can go triple tap Precision Instrument. I didn't even see that. Yeah, it's pretty good.
gun, but it does come in a tier 5 version.
Yeah,
It's a
1-2
rapid
punch
fire
on the hand
140
cannon, because that
RPMs,
hand
and
cannon is essentially like it's like a little shotgun. It's essentially like a shotgun.
nothing too crazy, but cool that it's back. Here we have a tier 1 basic version of the new micro missile arc grenade launcher.
Oh, we got a new
Theodolite.
mountaintop
Nothing
frame.
crazy here. Nice to have an arc option for the breach gel slot though.
Hey.
Moving on to the Cure Nullis, a 900 RPM strand submachine gun.
There's a lot of
As
new
you can
guns.
see from the
chat.
enhanced traits and the
A lot of new guns.
dots in the top right of the UI, this is a tier 2 version of the weapon. I used it a little bit, kind of felt like a regular 900 SMG, but of course I didn't have access to the complete perk pool and wish I did get some hands-on time with the tier 5 version of the weapon. Now we're going to take a quick
This
look
is
at
one
the
that we've seen a lot, the
720
Giver's
RPM
Blessing.
rapid fire auto rifle from Kepler. This is a tier 1 version
This
of the
is
weapon that
720.
actually came with a pretty solid set roll. We were given a tier 5 of this weapon also, but I was having way too much fun with the new Trials auto to give this thing its fair shot. But any 720 RPM auto rifle enjoyers, keep an eye out for this thing. I feel like heavy weapons have been underrepresented in this video, and we didn't actually get many in the build we played. The final gun we're going to take a look at for diversity is the Ulterior Observation Stasis Aggressive Frame Machine Gun. Nothing too crazy here. I actually just got this one as a world drop when I was...
So, if I'm understanding correctly, all the weapons we're seeing right now are not necessarily everything. Again, this is just a preview. So for anybody who's going to look at this and say, that's not a lot of guns, this is not everything. Because as Benny just mentioned, where's the heavy weapon?
playing
We're
the
not really
campaign,
seeing too many
it's
heavy
the
weapons.
machine gun. There's a ton more weapons and perks that I don't have capture footage of, but note that every single gun in this video could have come as a tier 5, so anything you saw at tier 1, don't judge it too harshly because you could have a fully enhanced, shiny cosmetic kill effect. Thank you so much for watching today's video.
Interesting. Okay, we got some cool weapons there. I like it, man. I like it. We don't have too many details on like the new perks from that video at least. But the exotics, I'm looking forward to the exotics. The new weapons. I'm just looking forward to grinding the new tiers, dude. That's it. I'm looking forward to the new tiers. I wanna grind some tier 1s through tier 5s and all of that. You said you're still loving Mirror Mago. Don't give it competition. Nice looking SMG. Oh man. Let's see. Let's watch one more video, chat. I do want to get into one. Let's watch the exotic video from Fallout. Let's check out this video.
What up, you lovable nerds?
Let's see
Fallout
these
here,
exotics,
and yes, you
chat.
are reading the title
I
of
mean, we
today's
saw some of the
video
exotic
correctly.
weapons, but let's
At
check
the
out
end
the
of
armor.
May, I went out of town. Didn't mention where to, but yeah, a lot of you probably suspected. I was
Warlock
invited
exotic is
out
also
to
cool.
Bungie to check out an early version of the
Just more
Edge
fun
of
content,
Fate.
stuff that can
This
make the
will be
game funny,
one
like
of
all
a
the
few
traps and
videos I
grass.
plan on
One
putting
more
out
world
this
traps.
week covering
We
secret
do love world traps, yo. We do love our world traps. I love when there's those moments in the game where you know, oh, next time I get a new player, it's on. You know what I mean? I love that, dude. Whether it's like a trap or, you know, sending them down like a dummy hallway or something like that, like, or maybe there's like some explosive or something like that. Like you said, like Grasp. Grasp is a perfect example of that.
footage I was allowed to record of the new content we'll be getting in July. Do me a big favor and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the other videos when they
Again,
come
guys,
out.
we're
My
gonna
final
be
video
checking
will
out,
be discussing my
Fallout's video.
overall thoughts on Edge of Fate. Definitely don't want to miss
Checking
that
out
one. I
some of
have
the
a
new
lot to
exotic
say,
weapons
but
and armor,
today
so be sure
we're
to
talking
go
about
and support
exotics.
the
While
full
playtesting Edge
video.
of Fate, we were given access to several new exotics to tinker around with. 3 of them were exotic pieces of armor, 1 for each class, and 2 were exotic weapons. Why don't we start with
Rite
armor
of Passage?
first?
Absolutely.
The Titan exotic is not only hilarious, but gives Titans a long requested feature.
Okay, this is the
with
Titan exotic
some
you guys were
activation
talking about.
criteria. Introducing
The
the
Mjolnir one.
Melis Panoplia.
All right, so let's take a look here, right? We got the Melis Panoplia. Forge Master is the armor perk. Collecting a fire sprite or rapid solar final blows make you a Forge Master, allowing you to recall your throwing hammer. After impacting a target, recall your hammer at full intensity to perform a perfect recall, causing an explosion of Forge slag. Perfect recalls and collecting fire sprites extend your time as Forge Master. Explosion of Forge slag. What the hell? After impacting a target, recall your hammer at full intensity to perform a perfect recall. Perfect recalls and collecting fire sprites extend your time as Forge Master. So essentially you have like a loop of being able to throw and pull your hammer back. And by hitting a target and doing a perfect recall, you cause an explosion. Interesting loop.
Gauntlets. Collecting a fire sprite or rapid solar final blows make you a Forge Master, allowing you to recall your throwing hammer. After impacting a
Yeah, these
target,
look
recall
good.
your hammer at full
These look good.
intensity to perform a perfect recall, causing an explosion of Forge slag. Perfect recalls and collecting fire sprites extend your time as a Forge Master. Translation. Step 1. First activate the Forge Master buff, which when it's ready, you'll notice in the bottom left-hand corner of your HUD. You activate it by either grabbing a fire sprite or by getting rapid solar blows, which IMO is way easier depending on the gun you got. Step 2. When Forge Master is on your HUD, the next time you chuck your hammer, the timer will activate, and now you basically turn into a fire-themed Thor. Throw your hammer, and if you hit the target, you'll cause an explosion of slag, and then hit the melee button again to recall your hammer, rinse, and repeat. While the hammer tracking seems to be ramped up in Forge Master mode, I'd say to make sure that you're still actually aiming, because if you're accurate and good at executing perfect recalls, i.e. pulling your hammer back at the exact right time, you'll extend your Forge Master timer. Whiffing your hammer throws is a feels bad moment though, and does not extend your timer, so yeah, you kind of have to act fast, but also be sure to be accurate to the best of your ability. I feel like this exotic is a not so sneaky way of the Bungie devs trying to find literally any way on God's green earth to convince the Titans out there to use anything other than prismatic consecration. The Panoply
I was trying to see in the gameplay chat how you extend the timer, because throwing the hammer, hitting the target, and calling it back does not extend the timer. Like, I have not seen the timer extend once. So I just want to go back really quickly just to this part. After impacting a target, recall your hammer at full intensity to perform perfect recall, causing an explosion. Perfect recalls and collecting fire sprites extend your time as Forge Master. I didn't see that just now, so I don't know if it just wasn't working correctly, but you can also collect fire sprites to extend your timer. So, okay. But perfect recalls should also extend your timer. But through all of like the footage that we just watched up until that point, I was waiting to see the timer get extended off of a perfect recall, because he's doing it over and over again. And I did not see that timer get extended.
Prismatic consecration. The Panoplia gauntlets go well with both Roaring Flames and Soul Invictus. With the right build, you can generate sunspots and slowly ramp up the power of your throwing hammer. This also kind of solves a weird problem that Solar Titans have had, where it genuinely just sucks having to physically run over and pick up your hammer, encouraging you to not throw it over long range. That whole problem partially led to that one really funny meta we had where Solar Titans would just repeatedly chuck their hammer at a target over and over at point blank range. It was just better and easier that way. While I wasn't able to fiddle with this exotic for as long as I would have liked, we were on a very tight schedule when recording footage.
Yeah, see, like right there, right, chat?
A certain itch I've had with the
mouse. Like, you're watching this gameplay right here, just in this section. Watch him throw the hammer, right? Forge Master is active, right? Forge Master is active. Hold on. Forge Master is active in here, right? So he's going to throw the hammer and call it back. That should be a perfect recall, right?
When recording footage, I will say that it scratched a certain itch I've had with the Titan throwing hammer for a really long time.
But the one
I should
before
mention
that,
though that at higher difficulty had with the tight schedule, it's exotic for as long as I would have liked. We were on a very tight schedule when recording footage.
Didn't get any more time. Threw the hammer, got a kill, recalled it back. Forge Master did not go up. So what exactly is a perfect recall?
I will say that it scratched a certain itch I've had
another
with
kill,
the Titan
recalled
throwing
it,
hammer for a
no
really
additional
long time. I should mention though that at higher difficulty levels of play, it didn't really feel like I was doing a ton of damage. Granted, you can really crank up the difficulty knob in Edge of Fate to a laughably high degree. More on that later this week. So I shouldn't really be expecting to blow through every piece of content with simple hammer spam chucking. But yeah, don't expect this to be straight up fire right out of the gate without some pretty good build crafting on your part. When July is here and I get more time to actually fiddle around with these, I really like to do some detailed damage testing and see if they can stack up to the gold standard of Titan melee spam, Consecration Knockout Prismatic Titan with Spirit of Syntho armor. That little build package puts in a wild amount of work in PvE these days for very little effort. So while definitely fun, Panoplia really has its work cut out for it. Next up, we have the Eunoia Warlock Gauntlets. I'm sure I'm saying that properly, and nobody will correct me ever. Hellion projectiles deal increased damage the further they travel, eventually fracturing into scorching shrapnel. TLDR, fellow floofing Warlock bros. Equip the Hellion aspect either on Solar or Prismatic, and now your little Solar buddy will hit harder the further the projectile goes. I came home after my trip and recorded some footage of the current Hellion aspect, and whoops, I forgot.
Now that's a lot of damage!
Power level is getting shaken up drastically in Edge of Fate, more on that another day, and it definitely has a big effect on our damage numbers, so almost impossible to compare damage output when I was at Bungie with current damage output.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do damage testing for all of this stuff once the content drops to actually see what it looks like. But this one sounds kind of nuts, just having Helion deal more damage from greater distances. Like, if you're doing a DPS phase from like way in the back of the map or something like that, it's going to be pretty good.
but Hellion, the numbers are way too different. Here's some good news though, unless there's something else going on, and again, our recording sessions were kind of wacky, but it seems like with Eunoia, the extra projectiles from Hellion result in a faster ignition time. Here we are in current D2 against Karl the Cabal. With no other aspects or fragments, we can see it takes about 4 hits with Hellion for an ignition to be triggered. Now here we are in Edge of Fate in the shooting range, which is awesome by the way, against a yellow bar ogre. Hard to tell from the footage, but it seems like we get an ignition at either 2 or 3 hits from Eunoia Hellion rather than the usual 4.
Yeah, that was
this
like 2
is
hits.
a really straightforward exotic. It reminds me of a slow cooker.
That's
By that,
good.
I mean, it's something you don't really need to
Yeah, it's really
actively
good.
think about. Just
Hey,
turn
what's
it
going
on
on,
and
Trent?
have it help you in the background while you get
What's
drunk
good?
and do your thing in the kitchen. I think this exotic might be a contender for some
We've just been
activities,
watching
but
some
it's
of the
all going to depend on how
the
much
Edge
you're
of Fate
able to
content.
actually
I'm
use
actually
it to
watching
stack
the
up
last
repeated
video
ignitions, I think.
for the
If
day.
you're able
We
to
already
dish
took
out
a look
ignitions
at
way
what did we take a look at today? We took a look at power leveling, gear tiers, the portals. So now we're watching and we took a look at weapons, exotics and whatnot. So now we're just looking at this video from Fallout, taking a look at some of the exotic armor and probably some of the weapons too. We'll see.
faster
But,
and to make the room explode way
been a
better,
lot
way
of
faster, way harder,
information
then
today.
yeah, I could see it being
Lots of
viable.
information
More
today.
on that in July, I'm sure. And before we move on to weapons, exotic hunter armor. We got a chest piece called Moirai. Quick side note, there's no way that Bungie doesn't know what they're doing when they're naming these exotics, right? Like they're trying to confuse people, right? It doesn't matter. Anyway, the exotic trait is Web Catcher. Threaded
So we got a strain exotic here for the hunters. Threaded spike can bounce to tangles, detonating them and returning immediately. Tangles detonated by threaded spike are rewoven and retrieved by it. Catches without a tangle refund extra melee energy. What? Tangles detonated by threaded spike are rewoven and retrieved. What? Says so much info, but I love it. Yeah, no, I'm having a great time with this. Like we went through a lot of stuff and I still have to go back and rewatch some things because I essentially what I want to do is I want to put out some clips and some videos, but I want to condense and really give like a high level overview. Like these videos go a little bit more in depth, but I want to give like a like a summary or whatnot. Because yeah, there's a lot that we just went through. But this exotic just sounds kind of crazy. I don't use Strand too much. So it's I'm trying to wrap my head around like potential builds here. I know that, there's multiple ways to summon like tangles and whatnot. So you throw your threaded spike through a tangle, or it says it bounces the tangle. So I guess they're attracted to tangles. And then that detonates the tangle and return to threaded spike immediately. So you don't have to worry about catching it. So you basically just want to throw it to a tangle, blow it up. And then it says tangles that are detonated by threaded spike get rewoven and are retrieved by it. So when you get back your threaded spike, you get a tangle in your hand to be able to throw it. That's kind of nuts. So you get back your threaded spike and the tangle, or is it just the tangle when it says returning immediately? And then it says catches without a tangle, refund extra melee energy. I mean, that's all. That looks like all positives. Honestly, you throw it and you miss or whatever, you get something back. That's kind of crazy. What do I think of the Warlock exotic? It's pretty cool. Yeah, we just took a look at it. I think it's really good. I think it's gonna be nice for DPS phases when you got Warlocks in the back with Hellions. And the fact that it seems like it procs ignitions quicker than base Hellion. It's nice.
spike
That's nice.
can bounce to tangle.
Again, like I said, we're gonna do some testing and whatnot when the new shooting range comes out. So a lot of these different exotics and weapons and whatnot, we'll take a look in the shooting range and we'll be able to see like damage numbers and test like scenarios and whatnot. Which is like one of the really cool things that I love, about us finally having like a shooting range. We'll actually be able to do some damage testing, Chad.
Tangles detonate them and return immediately. Tangles detonated by threaded spike are rewoven and retrieved by it. Catches without a tangle refund extra melee energy. I know it's a whole lot of info to take in, but I can summarize it in
Okay, so that is exactly what it does, chat. You throw a threaded spike at a tangle and it literally pulls the tangle to you. So it explodes the tangle and then it reweaves it and pulls it right back to you to be able to just use it, throw it at an enemy, whatever.
2
Interesting.
words, strand spam. Once you've managed to generate a tangle on the field, take your threaded spike melee and chuck it at the tangle. Mission complete. Not only will you detonate the tangle, but when your threaded spike melee returns, you'll now be holding a tangle. You've both detonated the one on the field and you've cloned a new one into your hands. That might not sound like a lot at first, but if you play a lot of Strand Hunter, I'm sure you're already starting to see the vision on what you can do with this exotic. The aspects that IMO were born to be paired with the Moirai armor are Whirling Maelstrom and Widow's Silk.
I was just about to say, I was like, that looks like Whirling Maelstrom because that's not what the exotic does. That's going to be kind of nuts. That's going to be a lot of that's huge crowd control potential for hunters with this Strand exotic.
Maelstrom, because when you detonate the original tangle, it now becomes a Whirling Dervish of green destruction, and Widow's Silks, you have more grapple grenade energy. Remember, if you grapple to a tangle, you immediately recharge your grenade energy, and this works even if your grapple latches onto a Whirling Maelstrom, which you can then use to grapple melee spam. In short, you'll have even more Whirling Maelstroms on the field for free, which you can grapple to and spam more grapple melees. You basically just dial up the Strand Chaos to 11 with this exotic. The only partial downside is something I can demonstrate here. If you're not perfect with where you place your grapple grenade melee, then instead of locking onto your Whirling Maelstrom, the grenade will lock onto an enemy instead, in which case you would not insta-refresh your grenade energy. This mistake can happen very easily because, you know, Whirling Maelstroms aggressively target enemies and dig into them, meaning your 2 targets are basically right next to each other. It's a very fun gameplay loop for sure, but frustrating when you make a minor mistake. Any season or episode, whatever we're calling them now, where you get Strand heavy mods on the artifact will make this exotic go extra hard. It's really fun. All right, why don't we move on to weapons? Someone ring the bell because we got yet another exotic hand cannon out here.
Okay, we already
This
saw
is
the
Graviton
hand cannon
Spike
chat, but let's take a look at the scout.
I have to
'cause
show you
we
is,
didn't really
believe
get
it
a
or
look
not,
at this thing. I want to see some more about this.
a scout rifle, and even though it runs on primary ammo, it hits unbelievably hard. Introducing the 3rd iteration, and it kinda does a lot. Triplanar Mass Driver fires a spread of void energy projectiles. Aiming down sights narrows the spread. That part is easy enough. Hip fire the scout rifle and you get a somewhat wide tri-shot spread, ADS to narrow the spread. Next, though, we have amalgamation rounds. ADSing for a short period without firing will compress the spread into a single high-density projectile. Damaging a target with this shot marks them. This weapon deals additional damage to marked targets. Defeating a marked target or landing a crit final blow with an amalgamation round grants invisibility and true sight. All right, TLDR. Rather than ADSing and
What? Bro, this gun is doing like 80 different things. Like, what? It's got like 3 different firing modes. Like, hip fire is a widespread, aim down sights narrows that, and then holding down the ADS condenses it into a single high power shot, which marks a target and can give you invisibility and true sight. This is what? This weapon is going to be absolutely busted. I love
spamming
it.
shots like we normally do. 3rd iteration wants you
Really
to wait
for this
for
weapon?
just
Dude,
a second when
that's
ADSing
crazy.
the gun. You'll see your crosshair condense, and when it finishes, then you fire. Your shot will do way more damage than it did
okay.
before. Damaging the shooting range ogre, a regular shot does around 124 damage on a crit. Again, remember the damage numbers are going to be weird in my video. Power level is getting tweaked hardcore in Edge of Fate. When you hit with an amalgamation round, you do 481 damage, significantly higher. And remember, we've now marked the target. Hitting the marked target with another amalgamation round now takes the damage number up to 624. Basically, marking the target makes them take 30% more damage from amalgamation rounds, which hit way harder than firing the gun rapidly. So not only can you hit yellow bars really hard with 3rd iteration, but you can use it to easily pick off red bars with big damage, which remember, give you both invisibility and true sight if you get a final blow with a crit. It's kind of an all-purpose exotic primary
Yo,
weapon in
this thing is
PvE.
gonna be
Strong
so
damage output,
busted.
good utility, and it runs on primary ammo. The final perk on the gun is modified heat
There's
sink.
another
Battery
perk?
slowly recharges over time when the weapon is stowed or not being fired. In short, if you're not shooting the gun, it'll very slowly auto-reload over time,
Oh.
which is kind of nice. But don't worry, if you want to traditionally reload the gun, you can hit the reload button and you'll vent the core, aka just
that's
reload
sick.
the gun. Anyway, you know those moments in a raid or dungeon where you're out of bait and switch rocket launcher ammo, but DPS phase is still going, and you're just trying to hit the boss with whatever backup DPS you got left? Third iteration will likely go hard in those moments, and I feel like a lot of people are going to really enjoy using the gun in PvE. I'm definitely gonna get
Dude, third iteration is 100% going to become the new Outbreak Perfected meta. This is going to literally be the new go-to weapon in your damage rotation. When you run out of ammo, 100%. This thing is insane. Like, again, numbers and damage and all the buffs and stuff, all of that stuff is subject to change when Edge of Fate launches. But when it launches, you can bet we will definitely be taking a look at this exotic. I don't know how we'll get it, but we'll definitely be taking a look at this exotic, doing some damage testing just to see, because from everything that we're looking at right now, this looks absolutely busted. Yeah, that heat sink is crazy. That's really cool. Z-Ming said, I thought that Warlock exotic will spawn additional Helion that you can have two. No. So the Warlock exotic just essentially like increases the damage of your Helion. And it looks like it also changes the way that it fires, but it doesn't give you an additional one. That it doesn't do. So it'll buff the damage based on the distance from the target, and it'll also make you cause ignitions a little bit faster. So at base, like right now, regular Helion, it takes like 4 Helion shots to cause an ignition. And with that new exotic, it looks like it only takes 2 to cause an ignition. So it's a really good exotic. It is a really good exotic. Trent said the scout is going to shine in content like GMs. Yeah, I agree. I think so too. Yeah. 100%.
give it a try in PvP as well. I'm extremely tempted by both free invisibility and true sight. However, I don't know if I'll wind up being patient enough to pop off with this exotic in PvP. Remember, you have to actually wait while ADSing and let the scope tighten before being able to fire an amalgamation round, and I'm not sure I'll be patient enough for that in PvP. We'll see how it plays out when the time comes.
Yeah,
Again,
I can agree
do me
with
a
that.
favor,
I don't think
subscribe
in
if you haven't
PvP
already, and ring the
I don't think in PvP chat, people are going to be sitting around waiting for like shooting it at the rate that you need to shoot it at for those things to pop off. I don't think so. But yeah, dude, that was a lot, chat. That was a lot. We just went through 3 videos from Dado, Benny, and Fallout. Appreciate them for covering this game, and a ton of other creators who put out a bunch of videos. There's a ton of stuff, chat. So if you haven't already, make sure you head out on YouTube and check out some people who are putting out some videos and whatnot. Like I said, we'll have something up on the channel, like kind of condensing a lot of the key important things that folks want to know going into Edge of Fate. And there's going to be some more articles from Bungie coming out in the coming weeks, so we'll be covering those as well. And I'm not going to put out like a million videos. You know, we don't have the capacity to do that, but we'll try to put out a couple videos just kind of putting things together for folks and whatnot. But yeah, this was good, man. This was good. I'm excited, dude. I'm excited. I said this before, and I will say it again, chat. This is our Destiny 3. I have been saying it the entire time, and I got a lot of shit for it, but that's what it is. That's what it is. This is going to be our Destiny 3. Telling you. And if you don't believe that I've been saying this, I've been saying this. I've been saying this. Artifact mods. We'll take a look at that stuff in the next stream, because it's getting pretty late for me and I gotta go to work in the morning. Oh man, but yeah, we gotta take a look. There's still more stuff we gotta take a look at. We have the whole month to kind of go through this stuff, and like I said, we're gonna go through everything. So today we went through a lot. You know, I got to still sit down and kind of put all these things together so we can make some content. But yeah, we went through the new portal system, the power leveling system, the gear tier system. We got to look at what the gear tiers look like for weapons and armor. We got a little bit of a preview of gear sets. We also took a look at some of the new weapons, some of the new exotic weapons, exotic armor that are going to be dropping in the game. So yeah, we took a look at a lot of stuff. We still got to look at the artifact mods. And there's still a couple more things that I have questions for, but I got to sit down again and I got to go through all of this stuff and kind of make note of some of the questions that we have. And like I said, we still have more articles to come. This is not all of the information that we're going to have on Edge of Fate. There's more that's going to be dropping throughout June. So this is just the beginning of the news cycle. There's going to be plenty more stuff that's coming down the pipe. So don't worry about that. We're going to have plenty more streams going into that stuff. Chat, we're not going to be back for Friday's stream because I'm actually going to be out the country for the rest of the week. So we're going to probably be back. Well, I'm not going to probably be back. I will be back next Wednesday. So we'll stream when I come back. If there's any more news or anything like that, Destiny related, we'll talk about it on stream. Anything else that comes up, we'll talk about it on stream. And then perfect timing because I'll be back next week and it'll be the second week for the prophecy dungeon. So we're going to be doing some prophecy runs probably on stream. So if folks want to pull up and run some dungeons, remember second week of all the dungeons gives you bonus loot. So keep that in mind. But we're probably going to do like some grinding during the second week. You know, some farming because I do want to get my hands on that Judgment Hand Cannon. And I'm probably not going to be able to do that this week because tomorrow I got work in the morning and then I leave on Thursday. So, yo, this man Sweaty just pulled up to the stream hella late just to gamble some tokens and lost. That's crazy. That's crazy work. Man came through just to lose. That's wild. Joker said, I just finished my morning shift. Genuinely curious as to what you do. I'm a social and welfare worker that helps kids in abusive homes. Love my work. So satisfying to see kids. Oh, that's awesome, dude. That's really good work, man. I know that shit is probably stressful, but probably very, very satisfying to know that you're making a difference to helping folks. That's awesome. What do? I work in IT. I'm a network engineer. So I essentially manage, maintain, build, upgrade the network. I'm the guy in the chair. I work on servers and Wi-Fi and networks and all that kind of stuff. I'm the guy who makes that shit work. So that's what I do. That's what I do. And I love my job, man. My job is awesome. It's very, very fulfilling. Like I love problem solving and troubleshooting and analyzing shit. So I get to do that all day. But it's paying for a lot of time, but you was a foster child, so you have all the time for the kids. Dude, that's awesome that, you know, it's something that you went through and, you know, you took that and, you know, you made it a career to be able to give back and help those that, you know, were in the same position as you. That's awesome. That is awesome. Your eldest son really wants to be in coding. Yeah. And like to do what I do, I mean, you can learn coding. It helps. Like I know like very basic coding. I wouldn't say like I'm super advanced or anything like that, but you know, it helps. It definitely helps. And like with networking, I mean, if your kid wants to get into coding, it's different. Because if you want to be like a developer, front end, back end, that would definitely help. With what I do, it can help as like a supplemental skill to like enhance your capabilities, but it's not necessarily like needed. Really for what I do, it's all just like understanding the fundamentals of networking, but really it's a lot of like problem solving and analysis and all that kind of stuff. That's really what it is. 16 years old, giving lectures at a university. That's awesome, dude. Shit. That couldn't be me. I was not the biggest public speaker when I was growing up. I got better in college, but I was not a big public speaker, so that's awesome. 16 giving lectures? Crazy. That's crazy. Good stuff. Good stuff. I can't believe this dude Sweaty really just pulled up the gamble. That's hilarious. Oh man. But anyways, chat, I'm gonna let you all go because it's almost 10 o'clock at night for me. Appreciate everybody who hung out today. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hope you all learned a little something about what's coming to Edge of Fate. Like I said, we are gonna have some clips and videos and whatnot going up on the channel. I will not be here for the rest of the week, but I will be back next week and we'll pick things back up and jump into anything new that's going on. So until next week, chat, I mean, I'll see you guys in the Discord, obviously, until I leave. But until next week, chat, hope you guys all enjoy the rest of your night, enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see y'all all next week when we come back. Have a good night. Peace.